Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
And I'm Bartek.
And as you can tell, we are called Spit and Polish because we're always spitting, and we both happen to be Polish. Is that not right, Bartek?
That is correct, Ryan.
One of these episodes, I'm not going to ask you that question. And it'll really throw you for a loop. Like, it'll be one of those times where I'm like, and we are both Polish. And you'll be like, and that is right, Ryan. And you'll be like confused about it.
Well, no, because it wouldn't be an answer. It would just be me confirming.
A statement. But, like, you would be saying it in that way, like, where is the question?
I would be smart.
The Pavlovian technique would kick in.
I'd be like, he's
for
doing
you.
it differently, so I'll do it, like, make it sense.
Makes sense.
Make it sense, mate.
On this show, Unappreciated Masterpieces, we watch...
What do we do?
Well, we watch films. Who doesn't these days?
That's normal. What makes this different from...
in the age of Netflix, anyone can watch a film now.
Yeah.
You don't need to go all the way to the movies to watch an unappreciated masterpiece, because an unappreciated masterpiece are films that have already come out.
Mm-hmm.
They're films that the audience and the critics and maybe even the filmmakers or actors did not appreciate in the final form. They're not the films that are completely hated, but they're not the films that are completely loved. If you watch a Mojo top 10 list, you're not going to see this in the top 10 worst films of all time, but you're not going to see it in the top 10 best either, or the top 10 forgotten. No, you're not going to see these films in those lists, and that's depressing. And we say, hey, let's make our own show in which we do feature-length audio commentaries discussing the intricate workings of these films, because films, like any art form, is ingenious. They involve many layers, many aspects, and everyone put time and effort in. Days, months, years maybe were spent into the creations of these pieces of art, and they just weren't appreciated. I mean, think about it. Someone woke up one day and said, yes, let's make a film about this. And it actually happened. Isn't that great? But here's the sad thing. Here's the tragedy. Here's the death of the salesman of this piece of story I'm telling you right now. We didn't like it. And we didn't hate it either. We felt nothing towards the film. And that's just depressing. Depressing. So we are covering the film. We are shining a light on the beauty of the piece. Bartek, what is the unappreciated masterpiece we're going to be delving into this episode?
It's just like Ryan said, films like these are ingenious, but I also want to add that they're also smart and intelligent.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's what I forgot to say. Yeah.
Yes, just it's very important.
They're out genius as well.
This film, Ryan, is not made with line, but it is Madeline.
Oh.
Wait, do you speak Polish?
Shit, I don't speak Polish.
Fuck! Again!
Shit, what could the film be? Give me, what was it you said again? I'm going to decipher this.
Madeline, I believe I said it was.
Madeline. Okay, I'm going to guess what the Polish... Because Polish is a bit tricky. I'm going to guess that this is going to be...
It's from 1998.
1998?
Yeah.
Jeez, is this... Are we watching The Matrix? Because that's a pretty appreciated film, I'll say, Bartek. That's not the kind of cinematic film that we'll be covering today. I can't wait to cover Keanu Reeves breaking the mold in The Matrix. I mean, here's the thing. I think that we needed to cover The Matrix. Some people at home are saying, right, isn't that an appreciated masterpiece? Yeah, but here's the thing. Have you heard our views on it? Maybe, yeah, sure. Thousands of people have given their views on The Matrix, and there's no real ground to cover there, but I think we'll make it. I think we'll cover something that no one else has covered on The Matrix.
Maybe there are some audience members who don't really quite get the type of films that we watch, and they're like, when are they going to do the Phantom Menace?
No, we're not doing that. We're doing The Matrix. So we're doing the 1998 or 1999 classic The Matrix with Keanu Reeves. My favorite Keanu Reeves.
Wait, hold on.
movie.
Did you say Matrix?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Madeline.
Oh, we're watching Madeline from 1998 with the amazing one-time film appearance of Hatty Jones.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Based on the acclaimed book series and television series as well. Oh my god! They made a live-action version of this?
Yeah, in 1990, I think it was... 8? Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, when I saw Madeline as a kid, the show, I said to myself, there had to be a live action version of this with the chick from Fargo as the nun.
And they needed to, like the poster, you'll have a red moped.
Yeah, because that's really prominent in the film.
Yes.
I imagine. No, like in the show it was.
And
yeah.
unlike that film, what's it called? Empire Records, where they have a dog on the front, but there's no dog.
Yeah.
Let's put the dog on the cover and in the film.
Oh, cool. So, Bartek, we're doing Madeline, the film adaptation of the character Madeline.
Just us two?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Yes?
Yes, actually. We
Oh,
are
I
doing-
tricked you!
Oh, fuck. No, we are bringing back an old timer. A guest that's been on the show only one time before, and we took them on a magical journey
They better
to
not
a
be.
land where Dan Aykroyd played two characters in prosthetic makeup. Of course, I'm talking about the film that we did a while back called Nothing But Trouble. And this guest is on the show. Bartek, who is it?
Hold on. Who are the two people that Dan Aykroyd played? He played the judge
And the baby.
Oh, and that's right, yeah. I forgot.
I just want to point out, we're doing a podcast where I got a visual cue that I just want to mention. Our guest, who was on the episode, just gave me a clicking point in recognition of Dan Aykroyd played a giant baby. Fun
And that
fact,
guest-
Dan Aykroyd played giant baby.
And that guest is Mischabella Anchan,
Hey, Mischabella!
who's laughing right now.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It is
my
so-
Dan Aykroyd.
It is so difficult to keep my laughs in that whole time.
Well, you know, it's
I think I passed out like at least 3 times.
it's really weird because we're a serious podcast. I don't think this is a comedy podcast at all. I mean, we were going to cover The Matrix, but then there was some weird French version of the film called Madeline that we just had to cover.
We're not a comedy podcast, but that's...
We are a
Oh,
serious
right,
pod.
I prepared a fart gag later. Should I still do it?
Yeah, no, maybe. It depends on the
I'll
fart.
This
fine.
place is
Sometimes
classy.
a fart needs to be in something serious. Not to
Like the...
add
master-
something to the air, but to give, you know what, we've never seen a serious fart in a movie before. You know what I mean by that? Like, can you imagine The Diary of Anne Frank? Right? And she's writing in her diary, and she's like, the Nazis downstairs, they're looking for us, and little Joseph couldn't help but break wind. And like, you feel the tension, and it's like, did they hear it? No.
too much.
No, they didn't hear it.
See, that's actually kind of genuine. I was going to
But
come up
yeah,
with something like,
no.
there's this sci-fi future where all the safety of the world depends on this one man not fighting, because if he farts, nukes will explode.
No, you need a fart. It's something serious, like
But it's
underpins it. But
space,
couldn't you?
So you can't hear a fart anyway.
Well, I
Yeah.
said sci-fi future.
In
not
space, you can't smell a fart.
in space, no one can hear you fart.
So I was saying in Anne Frank's, here's where I want to go with this.
Yeah.
So fart, and she's like writing in the diary, like, is this in the diary? She's like, I was so afraid that they would hear the fart, but thankfully, thank God they didn't. Unfortunately, they smelt it and came straight upstairs, and that's like the last entry.
The untold story.
Hitler walked into the room. I accidentally farted, but he smelt it, and he was so disgusted that he just ended the war.
No, I
He
thought
dealt it.
that's where I was gonna go. He was like, Hitler smelt it, and he needed to know who dealt it, because in his Germany only he deals gas.
And Roman supplied it, so
I gotta say though, the fart,
solved.
Yeah, nice concentration.
the fart joke in the
guys.
last
Like,
episode is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh boy. So guys, get your copy of Madeline ready. So we're gonna do a countdown here. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, play. 3, 2, 1, play.
725.
7, 2, 5. Oh shit, that's my pin. So and you're gonna hit play when we say play. So you're kind of synced up with us, and we're gonna be talking about the film. If you're unaware of the Madeline movie, like our guest Mish, who did not watch the film beforehand but wanted to go blind into it, it'll be a learning experience for you, this film, in case you are not aware of the series in any fashion. But hey, don't worry. This movie, just like life, is fun.
That was
So, yeah,
beautiful.
the film's beautiful. I can't wait for you to see it. So get your copy ready, because
Ryan spat on me.
that's why we call it Spit and Polish.
Spit and polish.
And you're Polish, and I spat on you.
And I polished my arm just to
So get your copy ready, because we're going to start in 3, 2, 1,
play.
play. So we are 2 seconds in, and what a magnificent opening to a film. There's clouds Oh, what's that coming out of the clouds? Is that God?
Is that Pegasus?
No.
Pegasus.
Oh my
It
God.
is.
It's I would say a camel. I would say, I don't know, with
Isn't that
wings.
Is that the dog from the movie?
Oh my God, we're in France. Oh, thank God.
Oh my God. Wait,
So-
I thought you said it was live action.
This is, don't you see those? That's what life looks like, Mischabella.
This,
Well.
It's like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
See, this is, can you tell which one's Madeline? It's the
Madeline
nun.
to Leicester Avenue.
You know what's really disappointed about in this movie? Did you watch, let's leap straight into our histories with this. I watched the show. I never read the books. Did you guys watch the show?
Oh, absolutely.
I was
loved the show.
I was aware of it, but I never watched it. And,
Ah.
and just as a little foreshadow to my conclusion, this movie did make me want to actually kind of check it out.
Well, here's the thing about the show. Now, Mischabel, I don't know how good your memory of it is because mine isn't the greatest, but the things I do remember was every now and then there would be musical numbers. Remember this?
Yes.
And my favorite musical number was Miss, was it Clavel? She would have her get up in the middle of the night. There's something's not right, and she would pace to and fro in her room, and she would sing like this, what felt like a fever dream kind of number about something's not right, something's not right, and it was just like
Was this a recurring thing?
Yeah.
every episode.
Every
Wow.
Every episode, like every episode had certain musical moments that would just happen like that. And it's like a staple, like in everything, you know, you had this, you know, line spoken, the 12 little girls in 2 straight lines, blah, blah, blah. You know, all that would be, this kind of thing would happen every episode. And I was really disappointed. Like, I get it why they didn't do it in this film, but I really would have liked it to have those little musical moments to make it a bit more like I guess like you said, the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, a bit more of these guys.
That's you and me, Ryan.
No, that's Roger Ebert and Siskel.
Who both gave this 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, because
Who gave it 2 thumbs up.
one of them said you have to give it a thumbs up, and I don't want to say who. I think it was Siskel, and Ebert said no way, and then they fought over a bush. So
Over a bush.
yeah, so every episode had a musical number, and I was really wanting this to have it too. And you know, my history with this film is I had watched it in my youth, but no strong recollections of the plot. I remembered like Pepito and the moped or his bike or whatever. I remembered
Vespa, I
Oh,
guess
sorry,
they call it.
Vespa. I remember her falling into the river, and for some reason I kind of muddled this film up with 101 Dalmatians. I thought Hugh Laurie was the villain in this movie, but he's the villain in 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Or one of them. I mean, Cruella de Vil's the villain in that, but like, yeah,
It's a lot of Dalmatians.
there's a lot of villains. So, Mischabella, what about you?
It's bothering me.
Poo poo? What's bothering you?
Her hair.
Hey, stop being sexist, okay? She's just a young female child. She can't decide how her hair grows. I mean, what about the nun's
color,
hair?
Sorry, the color.
It's red enough?
It's not quite red enough.
Look, baguettes. Oh, here they are.
Yeah, this is what before the episode.
They're not sword fighting. They're fencing. Jesus.
Before this episode
They're
began, we were joking about like French things, and they're like, "Oh, there are no baguettes." I'm like, "No, there is baguettes. They're sword fighting," and that was it.
Oh, good. So, Mischabel, what's your history
Were you
with...
expecting like some Star Wars lightsaber?
I actually thought, is this going to be like in Centurions 2, in which they had like this choreographed sword fight in the behind the stage, you know, in Centurions 2 they had a sword fight, and I forgot about that when we had to rewatch the movie. So I was like, did I forget about swords? So Mischabel, I'm trying to ask you, what's your history with Madeline? This film, the series?
Well, it was one of like my favorite shows that I watched as a kid. I would try to remember the little kind of saying that they would do before they would eat.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I love my bread, I love my brother, like brother. But most of all, we love
Each other, which
But
is never
I would
spoken in
always
this.
I would always forget to say it, and I just beat myself.
I
up
forgot about that.
it.
This isn't spoken in this movie. That?
That hurts.
I don't think that's spoken in this movie.
They
By
do
the way, the
chicken
director
impressions.
the director has 4 names or 5 names. Like, I just want to point that out. Like, the director has as many names as there are girls in this movie.
Mischabella, just to let you know, they don't say, that Grace thing, but they do make chicken noises. So
Yeah. In case
Chicken
you wanted
impressions.
to.
Is that the same?
Yeah, it's just like, you know how you as a kid, same with me, we heard that, love each other. And he's like, oh, that's sweet. In this movie, Madeline says, ew, I'm not eating Fred the chicken. Bark, 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 bark. And it's almost, you know what? I would say it's even more emotional than that.
It's kind of like when you haggle. It's like, you can't have this, but we do have this.
Yeah, like, bark, bark, bark.
Just settle.
Settle. I like how the Eiffel Tower's behind them.
So
They're really close
So
to
you
the
know it's
city.
in.
Really
So you know it's in Paris.
No, it could be in Las Vegas. There's an Eiffel Tower in
yeah,
Las
there
Vegas.
is.
Okay. Do they have an Arc
As an
de Triomphe?
expert of America, I know this. I've never been there
This
before.
is something I know.
But do they have an Arc de Triomphe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have
They
everything.
do actually.
Is this like Las Vegas?
They also have Statue of Liberty there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't there
Like
like
Statue of Liberty's French.
Isn't there 3 statues of liberties in America? Like, or
Exactly.
there's like the main one, and then there's like
Like imposters?
no, they're like
No, I
smaller
think they-
versions.
yeah.
They're like not like huge, but like the guy who did the Statue of Liberty's like here have a few different ones.
Oh. That's
For some reason I want to say 3 because it's a nice number, and I just want to go. If I was America and I got 3 statues of liberty, I would one in New York and sure Vegas, why not? But I would also go, Philadelphia, why not? Fuck it, they got very little over there. They got a bell.
Don't they have?
They've got the
chuck
show.
them a
It's always.
Statue of
I mean,
Liberty.
it's always sunny there.
But
I
don't they
guess.
have? Don't they have the Thinker?
Ah,
Because doesn't Rocky run by it?
I
And
guess.
Thinker's like, I think he's running.
You know who should have been in Rocky? Madeline. She could
Hatty
have
Jones?
taught. No, Madeline, the character, the cartoon character, should have come
I'm
in.
a hat.
I'm a hat.
I'm looking for a hat. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. Is her name Hattie or Patty?
Hattie.
Hattie, right?
That's her name. Real name. That's short.
That's the name that I like.
Hattie. It's short for. I would imagine.
Harriet.
No, actually.
What?
No, it's actually not. It's actually. I looked it up. It's not short for anything. Her name is just Hatty Jones.
What?
And the
I
one
looked her
role
up
she
on-
played has an iconic hat.
Yeah, this is her first and only film role. Like, major motion picture. Like, the others are TV movies, and there's only, like, 4 others. She has a web series in which it's about her as a struggling actress.
Without eyebrows?
And she was
No, she looks...
also-
creepily enough, she looks the exact same, and same hairstyle, except for she's properly blonde and just tall.
One of the IMDb trivia points about her was something that I actually kind of commented on to myself when I watched the film, that
Yeah.
she was the second choice for Hermione Granger.
Yeah.
Really?
But she was deemed too old.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because they knew that we needed Emma Watson's lack of charisma in this world. And they said, we need Hattie Jones's charisma not in this world.
Which is clearly demonstrated in this movie.
Yeah, so she's got a lot of charisma, She's a child actress that I think in this movie really... I think actually all the child actors in this movie do a bang-up job. I feel like they're actually good actors. Like, there's that difference between, like, say, someone like Hattie Jones and Macaulay Culkin, in which Macaulay Culkin, like, he was an iconic child star, but I wouldn't say he was great. His shtick is very much like Frankie Muniz, in which it's the I'm an adult, but I'm a kid, that kind of child star. Well, this girl, Hattie, she makes me believe she's a kid. Like, she genuinely, I know it's because she is, but you know what I mean? Like, child actors have this weird thing in which they have to either be super over-the-top whingy or a Frankie Muniz, Macaulay Culkin, in which they're...
Yeah.
Oh my god. Is that Claire Thomas?
Yes! My favorite in Young Dracula.
I'm friends with her.
Fuck off! No, seriously! Get her on the phone now! I want
Back in
explanations!
MySpace days. Oh my god.
Holy shit, can you
Which
actually
one?
get
Which
her-
one's she?
She's
She's the one
Aggie.
on the
The
left.
best friend one?
Yeah, the one who's like, can you please
my
not tell them I'm
God.
running away?
Oh.
That's her, yeah?
Yeah, that's her.
You have to contact her and tell her that we're doing
hey,
this.
I just watched your movie.
Hey, what's
I
her
know
name
it's a
again?
little
Claire.
late. Claire.
Claire, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You were really good in this movie, and Young Dracula, by the way. Love Young Dracula. Have you seen Young Dracula?
I love
I've seen Young Frankenstein.
No, Young Dracula's a
Young
TV show.
Dracula's,
Oh, no, I haven't.
way
In which
better.
it's like Dracula and his whole family moved to this city and this
dad
town.
is my favorite.
The dad is a guy who does nothing but play Draculas, and he brings the Bela Lugosi type of Dracula into what is basically a Seinfeld show for kids.
Okay.
It's so good.
They have Renfield in it, his assistant, and he eats bugs and rats and shit. And it's actually kind of a show for kids that has a supreme amount of horror and violence for kids. Like, it's live action. Live action.
Recently finished watching the whole series.
It's great. Like, there's a whole season arc in which you're like, where's their mum? Right? They don't have a mum. And then she rocks up and she's like the most evil person in kids shows ever.
Like, you think the dad is bad.
But the dad's actually the dad
He's
is
the
basically
nice of the two.
the dad is basically every kids show TV dad, like like Malcolm in the Middle, like that kind of like goofy dad that you wish you saw more of in an episode. You know what I mean by that, Bartek?
The ones that tell like dad jokes.
Oh, you're not a dad joke, but like they're goofy. But they're so likable. There's something about them that you just want to see more. Like,
But they're not the main characters. And
Yeah,
they don't get as
exactly.
much focus.
Exactly. Like in a lot of those shows, you find that the parents or the adults are the ones that are more interesting. That's Young Dracula for me. Like the adults are so like there's a Van Helsing character, and he has a son or a nephew or something that he's trying to teach to be Van Helsing, and the kid's just like,
he's like, I don't
at first
care.
not really into it, but then he's like, because he doesn't believe they're vampires, and then finds out they're vampires, like, shit, yeah, I want to hunt these fuckers down. So enough about Young Dracula, Claire.
Just to
please
quickly-
come on the show. We will do whatever other movies you're in. I swear, I would love to have you. Skype, whatever. Please talk to us about this. I would actually love to have a one-on-one interview with you, Claire, about this film experience. What it was like to work with Hatty Jones. Do you know why? Do you keep in contact? Because I really think they were friends in this. Like, I buy that relationship in this movie. Like, out of all the young girls in this, I actually looked her up, Claire. I looked her up because I just went, I feel like she's an actress in this movie. You know when you see these kid actors, you know they're going to go on to do some more stuff. Like, it's like, I guess, when someone saw Flipper and they see Elijah Wood in that movie, and they're like, he's the lead actor. Like, you know, you go, It's like how Ryan Gosling was a child actor, and he appeared in lots of things, in little supporting roles and then major roles, and there's something about him, even when you see those actors in their earliest roles, you can go, yeah, I can see them going on to more stuff, especially if they're not a recognized child actor like Macaulay Culkin or something like that. Like Elijah Wood, for instance, I don't think he really got into prominence until something like Lord of the Rings. I mean, that is such a biggie. But I've kind of forgot he was a child actor.
Yeah, and on that point you were talking...
Here, something is not right.
Yeah, and this would be a musical. This
song.
would be a whole musical number where she runs up and down the stairs with a candle.
Yeah. So just going back to the whole thing about like child actors and like the differences between them, I think one of the films that we've done on this show, and unfortunately it's one that you weren't here for, Ryan, when we did the episode on Old Dogs, I really noted how the two kids in that movie kind of felt more like plot objects rather than characters. Like, that film was so centered around Robin Williams and John Travolta that, like...
Yeah, that happens in those kind of family movies where it's based on the parents instead, where the children feel like plot devices. But this is primarily about Madeline.
I don't understand that. Like, you've got children. You don't need to do a lot of convincing to be like, oh yeah, they're definitely children. But they always play it on harder. It's like, we need them to be convinced that these are children.
Look at this scene here.
It just gets a little excessive.
I really like the scene here. Hatty Jones, brilliant performance. I'm really shocked that she didn't go on to do more. She's acting against an Oscar winner here as well. And I think she won an Oscar for Fargo, I'm pretty sure. But she has to act something that's very hard for a child to convey, which is understanding death. Like, her character already understands death because Madeline, for some reason in this, I don't remember in the cartoon, but I always thought they were all orphans. In this one, it's only Madeline that's an orphan. Everyone else has families.
Yeah, it's specifically a boarding school, not an orphanage.
Yeah, so in this, like, you know, I think Hatty Jones really captures this. I think, for me, what makes this movie work is all of the children, especially Hatty Jones, of course, and Frances McDormand. She is perfect as... Why is she called Miss and not Sister Clavel? I don't understand. Like, when I see lots of because I never went to
That's a good
Catholic
question.
school or like anything like this. But when you see these kind of environments, like in films, like say the Blues Brothers or something, they call them sister. She's a nun.
And like I said, I was with the male equivalent in my school. We had brothers.
Yeah. They're not a male equivalent of a nun, are they?
Well, we call them brother. You call them sister. So
Yeah.
I
That's,
mean, they're equivalent in that sense.
yeah. Unless they're a mother superior.
Superior of the sisters, yeah.
Yeah,
Is this
but-
when she names?
But you still
the
call her mother
chicken?
superior.
Yeah, because that's like the name of
Yeah.
the role.
What was that, sorry, Mish?
Is that where she falls in love with a chicken?
Yeah, she falls in love with the chicken.
No, she says they're just friends, Ryan. She friend zones the chicken.
To death.
So really, he died twice.
The chicken is kind of like Pepito. Friends.
Oh, we're about to meet Papato.
Oh, sweet. I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
what are we-
Frances McDormand really sells this role as Miss Claver. I mean, I can't actually think of another actress that could embody this character even now, really, to be honest. Maybe Glenn Close, but then she was doing 101
I
Dalmatians.
would love to have been the guy
Who-
who's in charge of like pulling the string attached. to
That was
hat.
actually The Wind.
No, it wasn't.
Mish,
I'm sorry.
you've worked on movies. You know that this is a documentary
You know
style.
that was Wind.
You know that was when we already talked about farts. That was the fart moment of this film, right, Bartek?
I forgot to do the fart noise. I'll find a moment later, right?
That was the bit in which, the girls farted on Hattie, and that's why I want to ask your friend Claire about how it was to fart in this movie. Honestly, you need to give her contact with us.
We should probably
I am so pumped that you know this.
When
See, if
we-
you watched the movie before, you could have got this all organized, Mish.
we could have found out if like
How do
she
you
was-
know her?
Okay.
Were you just like, hey, I'm a big fan of Young Dracula, and you added it on MySpace?
Well, what I did on MySpace, like I had a huge crush on one of the brothers, Luke Bridgman, and I
In
I
Young
looked
Dracula?
him- yeah,
Oh.
I looked him up on MySpace and I added him, both on MySpace and Facebook, and then we became friends, and then
Shit.
then I somehow added Claire, and she was a friend on my Facebook, and then yeah, I've just
Claire, honestly,
Was she the one sword fighting?
she's
to
one
beget?
right here.
Yeah, but was
She's
she
right
beget
there.
sword fighting?
I don't remember. I wish I knew this. Oh,
look at
Claire,
that
Claire.
face.
Claire,
Just
your
adorable.
face is so energetic in this movie. I think it's the eyes. It's these little buggy eyes. It's so good, Claire. I would love to know how this film was behind the scenes, because this looked like here's how this film could be for me. Only two options. This was the funnest film ever made, or this was a nightmare. I don't think this would be a film in which there was an in-between.
Well, Ryan, we're at the buck scene.
Oh, yes, the buck scene, this is an iconic scene, Mischabella, in which usually they would have,
It's their favorite.
their favorite chicken, but then Madeline, being the great protagonist, says, no, I'm standing up for what's right.
And she literally stands up too.
That's exactly right.
Good consistency.
And she has a great character. This is the start of a great character arc for her, I would say, in which she becomes the Lisa Simpson of the group, in which she's like, no, eating meat's wrong. But
That's
she does
not
something
enough.
even better than...
I thought you loved me.
She does something even better than Lisa Simpson. She doesn't just have a character arc, does she? She goes in a full circle, because by the end of the movie, Madeline goes, I want chicken!
Yes.
Actually, off.
By the way,
it's
I
like
just
a
want to
red-
say this is a movie I feel like on the show has done something that I feel like a lot of the movies we haven't done on the show has done, which is this, I'm not saying all of them, but like most of them, this movie feels like the most animal related movie we've done in quite some time. Have we done, like, outside like something like Snow Dogs or Dog Month where they had dogs as main characters? But like, this movie involves animals a lot. There's a dog, there's a chicken, there's several other dogs, there's idiots that that are like animals, and there's this whole vegetarianism thing going on. And I don't want to spoil it right now, but I want to point out my favorite moment in this movie involves a dog. I'm not gonna say what moment, but we're gonna find out. And here, and this girl here, the antagonist, Vicky, only acted in one thing, and it was this. And I'm really surprised by that because she really reminded me of some actress. I don't know who.
From Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
She reminded me, yeah.
That's exactly who.
Veronica!
I wonder if that's her sister.
Veruca Salt.
Yeah.
Veronica. Why Veronica?
Veruca.
The bubblegum chewer was Violet Beauregard.
Yeah.
So I was wrong on both counts.
You were... and here we have a...
What business are you in, Mr. Salt? Nuts.
Nuts.
Here we have a veteran actor here.
Yeah, that's right. His name escapes me.
Nigel
Hawthorne. Yeah.
He is most known, I guess, for 3 prominent things. Other than this, he was in the TV show Yes Minister, which, if you need to understand how British politics works, I know it might be dated because it was made in the 70s and 80s. That's the show. Because you know why? His character, I can't remember what exact thing he was, but he is, to this day, the best character I've ever seen represent bureaucracy. His character in that show would do nothing but stop the minister from doing anything, but doing it in this roundabout fashion of jargon and political correctness nonsense terms, in which it took him 5 minutes basically to say no.
Okay.
In the most bureaucratic way. It is... He has speeches of bureaucratic nonsense that a book like Catch-22 tries to capture in its like 400 pages. He's amazing. And he's known for a movie called Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone, in which he plays the villain in that movie. He plays the villain that wakes up Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
He's the guy that makes this world a PC world. And then he did a bunch of these Hollywood movies so he could fund his own movie called, I think, The King's Madness, in which he played King George III, who was the crazy king. You know about King George III?
I think so.
He was the one for, I think, like 14 years, ended every sentence with penguin, and then one day just, out of nowhere, and then one day just stopped doing that for no apparent reason. I think at one point he married a tree. Yes,
yeah, okay.
So he did a film about that, and he got like major Oscar stuff for that as well. So yeah, great to have some heavyweight Oscar contenders in Madeline.
And they're like,
and this was after their Oscars.
Yeah, and they're like top billing in this film.
Yeah, because they're both Oscars.
Yeah.
Oscar contenders or winners.
They're both Oscar.
They're both Oscar with Sylvester Stallone. Again, why wasn't Nigel in that movie? Good movie.
So his character in this one was named Lord Covington, and the joke name that he's given is Lord Cuckoo Face.
Yeah, and he hates them.
Is that in the trivia? Is that his name in like the original works?
I don't.
Lord Cuckoo Face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like.
It's like C-U-C.
Oh wait, notice this girl here.
Yeah.
Notice her. Hold on to that, by the way. That's going to be relevant later.
Okay.
That one girl. I will mention straight off the bat, in Madeline, there was, or at least in one series of Madeline, there was a black girl in the lineup of girls. In this, there is none. Just want to mention that. Of course! But they have an Asian girl, so I guess it makes, like, hey,
It's not the same.
excuse me, Asian people are very underrepresented in cinema. Did you see Ghost in the Scarlett Johansson, who's not Asian, Shell?
Look, we've had enough black people. They've had enough exposure.
We
need
had
to bring the Asians in.
We gave Moonlight an Oscar, didn't we?
I think
Ryan,
we paid our dues.
We did an episode on the tuxedo.
We paid our dues.
Ryan, we did an episode. There are plenty of Jews.
Michabella's on point in this.
Booby bastard.
This was one of my favorite scenes too, in which it was boobies, boobies, boobies. I like this girl as well. I actually thought they were looking at ice cream for a while there. I'm like, why are they saying ice cream stinks? I don't understand what kind of ice cream they eat in France.
Yes.
But then it was
What is
cheese.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
cheese.
sad.
Because they're French and they don't
Polish word is sad.
do not most cheese, like, I get cheese. There are some cheeses that you don't have to put in a cool environment, but they just have it out.
I guess that one's not one of them then.
I guess.
Like, aren't there like some cheeses that you like have wrapped in plastic and they're like big and round?
Are there some cheese?
I
Oh,
think
look,
they're,
more
like,
chicken.
Once they're like matured enough. you can keep them out for a while.
playing with the booby baskets.
I really want to ask her about that scene, you know? Like, Claire, what was it like to do the booby scene? That would be my first question.
Who are you imagining was the...
Well, Claire,
your
you know, this was...
inspiration?
What was your... Did you think that this would come true to life later? You know, like when you thought, oh, you know, in my late 20s, I'm going to look like, oh my god,
Oh my
a demon
God.
scene. I didn't know, Claire, you didn't tell me that you were in The Exorcist. This, might I add, that moment there never plays into anything ever again. You don't know why he's dressed up like that. You don't know what he was doing. Like, did he do that? Like, I know he was doing that to prank them, but like, did he go, I'm going to do this really complicated paint work myself? Because his parents are never there. And the tutor hasn't been established yet. Don't think.
If he was, it was
No, like he hasn't been
enough.
established as a tutor.
He hasn't been established until really Miss Clavel talks to him.
No, he's established when he's taking photos.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
But as a tutor, I mean, yeah.
He's not.
He's the
properly
villain,
established-
Mischabella.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a villain. There's villains in this kid's movie.
And
There
his
has to
name
be.
is his name is Leopold.
You know, does that bother you in kids' movies? I mean, in all movies, but in kids' movies, there just has to be this forced antagonist situation. It's kind of like, you know what I mean by that? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I think I like about Toy Story. I think that's something that works about Toy Story. You don't realize, even until you're much older, that the antagonist was Woody all along.
That he was kind of like an asshole protagonist.
Yeah, but he was clearly the antagonist, because like he's also your main hero, but like there is no antagonist. You could say Sid, but not really. Like, and I love kids movies like that, and that's why sometimes I think
in the context of us following Woody, Sid is an antagonist, but I see what you're going.
but he's
with
more of an
this.
obstacle. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't say in a racing movie that the exploded tire is the
Is the-
antagonist. And I feel like Sid in Toy Story is that. Like, he's something that they have to get past.
But he's
not something that's constantly trying to...
Yeah, but he is going against the themes of the film, which is like treat your toys well.
Yeah, I guess, but that's also some the film.
That's
But the film also explores more than that with
Yeah,
toys,
the
like
creativity and stuff
yeah, the
like
creativity, and he was creative in his toys. Like, I think it celebrated that. But like, I think what I'm trying to go at is my feeling for why this is unappreciated is a weak antagonist figure. This guy here, I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's not a bad actor. He's done quite a bit of stuff. I just feel like they could have made him fleshed out. Like, I wanted to understand why he was doing what he was doing other than for financial gain. I mean, maybe they could have played on him for comedy a bit more. Like, not saying he had to be comedic, but like, I think a weak antagonist in a kid's film really brings stuff down. Or a forced antagonist. Like, one of my favorite kids' movies is WALL-E. The WALL-E. You know, the Pixar one. Bartek.
Oh right, yes, that's really good. That's a good. movie.
And one thing I have an issue in that movie is it feels like two movies because there's a forced antagonist. Not saying that I don't like the AI computer antagonist in the movie. I do, but 2001 already did that. But it's like a weird forced antagonist in an already great film that doesn't require that kind of
it's
situation.
like an easy way of having a conflict.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, this movie has that. Where you could have made this movie Pepito
Yeah.
is the antagonist, but it's like a friendship, romantic rivalry kind of antagonist, like where they eventually
Not villainous antagonist.
yeah, but like he is her antagonist.
Yeah.
Like,
Antagonist is the person who like stands in your way, and it's not necessarily that they're trying to do something evil, it's
exactly.
just, rival.
That's what I mean. Like, but this movie has to have a guy who has to kidnap and
They have someone who's
Crime
easy to label as evil.
Well, I think Pepito could have been like the thing, and then when you had this amazing line, Mischabella, from Miss Claire, where she's like, "No, that boy is just misunderstood." That could be like resonate a lot more when you get to the end of the movie. And you're right, he is misunderstood. But in this movie, it's kind of like, yeah, he is misunderstood, I guess. But like at the end of the day, I didn't feel like much was going to change for him. His situation where his parents are still ambassadors and they're still going to be running off all the time, and
Maybe he just behaved more. A little.
yeah, but I don't think that was his problem in the first place. It was the fact that he's left alone
Yeah.
all the time. He behaves when they're there. That was the thing.
That's like the show. Like his parents were always away.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a movie. This is a one-off movie, so I think they could have made that a central focus. But you know, I can't remember like a story. I can't. Here's the thing about Madeline though. It's one of those shows. It's like a. I don't know if you agree with this, Mischabella, but it's a show in which I remember no storylines, not a single one. I remember the images, and I remember that they used to get in trouble, but I can't remember a singular episode. You know what I mean by that?
I remember one, but nothing else.
What was it?
It's where they're training for spelling bee,
Okay.
and they're trying to spell
Cuckoo
turkey.
face. Okay, turkey, yeah.
Guys, Leopold's trying to sleep, so keep it down. In the museum.
But, yeah, they spelled turkey, and they were laughing that it was like a turkey, gobble gobble, and also turkey the country.
Be fair. So that's it. See, I don't have any recollections of any storylines. I remember the moments, like the musical numbers and the imagery and the sayings and all that, but it's not a show that... There's shows that I watched less of, and I remember the episodes. I'm not saying that's a weakness of this show. I'm just saying maybe it just didn't speak to me as enough as a show like My Best Friend's a Martian.
Do you at least remember the characters well, though?
I remember that show.
Huh? You remember? It's great. The dad was also good in that show. I remembered Madeline and Miss Claver and Pepito and the dog. All the other girls.
Is it pronounced Claver or Clavel?
Clavel.
Clavel, sorry.
Okay.
I just keep mixing it up because I love wanting to call her Frances McDormand.
Okay.
It's also because they're in France and they had to get someone with France in their name.
She'll know what to do.
She will do an accent of some variety. You know what I find weird about her as an actress? I really don't know her outside of Coen Brothers movies. She's married to one of them.
Yeah, she was in
Fargo.
Hail Caesar and...
Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
And who was she in Hail Caesar?
I think she was like a script writer and she was like in that dark room.
Yeah. And she's in like a scene in Miller's Crossing as a secretary. And, like,
when I looked at her like filmography on Wikipedia, there was like one other thing that I was like, oh yeah, I think she was like a voice in something.
yeah. She's a weird actress that everybody kind of knows because Fargo, I think, is an iconic movie. And Madeline is also very iconic.
But unappreciated.
So did we see this movie when we grew up, guys? Did we see it in the cinema? Did we have it on video or anything like that?
No, honestly, the most I knew about Madeline was that I'd seen maybe an ad of the show and thought, oh yeah, cute art style, but I'd never watched it. So I'd never even considered the fact that it was based on really popular books or that it had a live action film. I know that half of Roger Ebert's written review for this film, which was 3 out of 4 stars, as I said earlier.
Very high.
Very high. Most of it was him gushing about how fantastic the books are. And how charming this film was, like, you know...
Yeah, that's something that I think I like about this movie, is it's charming. I feel like a lot of kids' movies today, live action ones, I would say, aren't charming. Like... well, I mean, 90% of the kids' movies live action have The Rock in them, and he is himself charming, but
Yes.
like the films aren't so much.
Not so much.
Like Race to Witch Mountain, I wouldn't say is charming. I would say is enthralling, or The Game Plan or something. Don't you love how a lot of kids' movies these days involve former wrestlers or action stars looking after small children? Don't you love that?
Other than
Are
The
they
Rock,
are they
who
treated
else is
as
Vin Diesel,
there?
Hulk Hogan.
are they treated as like selling points in the
Yeah,
advertising? Or
like
that's probably something.
The pacifier. Where
That
Vin
was a
Diesel
good
must
movie.
look after children. I
Very
love
long name.
my subtitles for this. Does not do the subtitles for anything they say in French, but the Spanish, yeah, like because he talks for so long.
Well, he's saying names.
Did you have a favorite character from the show, Mischabella?
No.
You weren't a Pepito fan? He didn't get your
No.
loins going?
No.
You didn't have a sexual awakening
I'm sorry,
watching
I didn't
Madeline?
have a sexual awakening because
What
of a
inappropriate
cartoon
kids show did you have a sexual awakening to? You know what I mean by that? There's always something in our childhood that we were like, ooh.
Oh, like the origin of a fetish or something.
No, not just fetish, but you look back and you realize that turned me on. I was attracted to that in a more adult fashion.
definitely in Space Jam.
You're gonna say Marvin the Martian.
Yeah.
I love that voice, and I've been trying to emulate it ever since, Ryan. Where's the girl chattering kaboom?
I think I can do it.
Jessica Rabbit for me, definitely, from Roger Rabbit. But yet again, that's an adult movie.
Yeah.
Really, isn't it?
What's her
That's
name?
murder.
Lola.
Lola was
my
so
gosh.
sexualized for no apparent reason. Fun fact, I hate Space Jam. I've never liked it. I just went, even as a kid, I'm like, I don't like this. Maybe because I don't like basketball.
Cute.
I think one of my first sexual awakenings was Austin Powers 2. Not a kid's movie by a long stretch, but Heather Graham has forever been a heartthrob for me. She's hot. I don't know if you agree with that, Mischabella. You look very concerned.
Movie?
Austin Powers 2.
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
The Spy Who Shagged Me. Heather Graham's his blonde one. She's in lots of things as an amazing... She's in Boogie Nights.
She was in Anger Management.
Oh, she was hot in Anger Management too. But yes, that was for me.
Oh wow! Some of the patterns on that snake look like a skull.
That was actually on purpose. That's the snake that Voldemort uses in Harry Potter.
Nagini?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, does it really upset you to know that pretty much all the animals in this movie are dead now?
No.
The dog in
What about
this
you?
movie,
I'm gonna
Genevieve.
repress that.
The dog in this movie, Genevieve, is clearly dead. This movie is nearly 20 years old, and the dog was not a puppy. I said that to my girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh come on, the dog was probably still be alive." Like, this movie's 20
What
years
was
old.
that? Was that a dick?
No, it's a finger.
Yeah.
It was his dick. You had to test out the guillotine somehow. Might I add?
And now
As
they
soon as-
hate him
no,
because
excuse
they
me.
can't get his dick.
I want to comment on Mischebella's long-term friend. She had a reaction shot just then that matched up perfectly with Mischabella saying, "Is that a dick?" And then this reaction shot. Ooh, I want to know if that's her thought process. Was it a dick? I don't know. How was it to push over Frances McDormand? These are things that... I'm so upset. I wish so much.
Ryan,
Yes.
jumping back to the question you gave Mischabella, did you have a favourite character from
Me?
this film?
From the film?
Yeah. Or the show, I mean.
The
whatever.
show I liked Pepito. In the film, not so much. I just don't think he's in it enough
Yeah.
for me to go. But yet again, that's not always a justification. I've had characters that appeared in literally 2 seconds. Nice shot. I think it is her, Frances McDormand.
Same here, Miss Clavel.
Miss Clavel. She plays the right amount of cartoony, stern, serious, and loving.
Yeah.
She's not a bitch, but she can be stern, like in this moment
She's
here.
strict.
So basically a nun.
No, nuns are bitches. I can tell you
How
that.
do you know this?
I'm a Catholic boy, and nuns are scary. Isn't that right, Bartek? You would say that, right? Nuns can be standoffish.
And
There's
judgy.
something about...
You know what? I think literally the only nun I've ever seen was one that was riding a bicycle that I saw. in
Oh,
Poland a
the
few
flying
years ago.
nun, yeah.
No,
I
2 years
literally
ago in
was
Poland.
working the other day. And this was so confusing. I'm in Melbourne, where we live, and I'm in a suburb called Kew, and I work as a crossing guard supervisor, and I'm helping this nun cross the road, and she was this elderly Asian nun. I just don't think I've ever seen an Asian nun before. And then I was like, maybe I'm being silly. Maybe that's not a habit. Maybe that's like a headscarf or some weird thing that this Asian woman was wearing. But then like a bunch of priests were the next people to cross. And they were like, "Did you see Sister Chow?" And I'm like, far out. I'm like, wee. Sister Chow. Mischabella, I imagine you were a rebellious young girl at one point.
Yeah.
Did you ever stand on a bridge and fall off? Nice pointing, Claire. Did you ever... I'm just going to point out every time that Claire does something in this movie in the hopes that she listens to this podcast. I hope that every time I point something out,
Link
she's
her to
listening
it.
to this podcast, sitting there recollecting the film and being like, I'm glad someone noticed the effort I put in.
Look, Claire's
You
holding
know,
a hat.
I held that hat. Here's what they don't know about me holding the hat. That went on for a few hours. That was like an hour. That was a 2-hour shoot.
in a monologue?
I had to like that's her. Like they don't know. Claire says like little do they know on this podcast that they cut at the scene in which there's a reason why I'm holding the hat. Yeah, I'm like, tell me more, Claire.
Tell me more.
So
She ran behind a guy.
what was one of the most rebellious things you did as a child, guys?
Dude, I mean... The
Oh,
the
bro.
police aren't listening, are they?
No.
I was a bit of a kleptomaniac.
I could tell by looking at all the stolen things you're wearing.
This isn't even my clothes.
That's why it's stolen. So, what was the most expensive thing you stole as a child? Good hand acting, Claire. Loved it. Yeah.
I stole a ring
Yeah.
from this fairy shop.
Was it? Do you still have the ring?
No.
A real thief would have kept it.
Man, you got to meet real fairies and you stole from them.
But no, I had it for a while, but I couldn't wear it because I thought that if I had it, someone would ask, "Where'd you get it?" I'm like, I don't know, and then I just give myself up. So I hid it.
You're a pussy.
Yeah.
So you hid it
Essentially.
and forgot.
Yeah.
Oh man, Bartek, what about you?
So I was a pretty good boy.
Good boy Bartek.
Good boy
We've already
Bartek.
said this on the. I swear, on some point in the show, we've said "good boy
In the-
Bartek" on several occasions.
The episode of A Winter's Tale, I specifically made that a running joke.
Good boy
But
Bartek.
for real, I was a very nice, polite boy.
And then grew up into a horrible old man.
I had this one friend, I won't say his name, but anyway, one day the teacher gave Martin
Mischabella, yeah.
His name.
the teacher gave him like this stress ball with a smiley face on it.
I have one of those, yeah.
He kind of had like ADHD.
Yeah, Mish.
So like he got to squeeze it and then he got to like focus in class.
Yeah.
But there was this one class where he was like squeezing the ball and also sort of mucking around at the same time. So the teacher, I think her name was Miss Fauna.
Yeah.
She had an Irish accent.
Oh, you give her name out, but not his. Priorities.
Well, she's probably.
Well, this is a
dead.
last name.
Oh, well, there'll be no way to figure it out then. Okay, yeah, go on.
So anyway, she took his stress ball and put it in like the teacher's desk and was like, "I'll give it to you at the end of the day" or something
Great
like
Irish
that.
accent.
I love how far away it is from anything that could be identified as Irish.
I'm not too good with the UK accents.
I like the Irish people. By the way, we do have Irish listeners. There's the people who are not from Northern Ireland that are like, UK. Fuck you!
Well,
We
fuck
fought
yeah.
for our right not to be in the UK.
Are they still have they left?
They're not in the UK.
They're not?
They're Northern Ireland's in the UK.
Yeah.
Wales and Scotland are in the UK, and England's in the UK. Ireland is not. The Irish hate the English so much
Well, I don't
that
know-
they fought for their rights and lost Northern Ireland to
I don't
the
know
English
which island she
in
was...
the 80s.
Look, I don't know which island she was from, but anyway, you get what I mean when I say UK accents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not good with accents from that little slice of the world.
Okay.
English, okay, I'm okay at. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, she put the stress ball in like the little teacher's desk and said that she'll give it back at the end of the day or something. And my friend was a bit upset about that. So at the end of the class, everyone left the room, including her. I stayed back and I was like, I snuck up to the desk. I just took the ball and left.
didn't.
I never got caught or anything, but I was like, that was me deliberately like,
Fucking with this poor guy with ADHD.
well, to give back the ball.
Well, you did you?
Yeah, I did. I gave it back to him.
Oh, I thought you just took it. I'm like, oh, chaos.
Well, I mean,
This is mine now.
you know that rebels fight for a cause, Ryan.
But freedom fighter. So my most rebellious thing was I got suspended from school, primary school. Yeah, I'm a rebel.
What was your cause?
I got this girl was annoying me. I was like in year 3, so I was old enough to know better, but I didn't care.
It was like 2002, 2003.
Yeah, 9/11 just happened, so I was really upset.
Yeah.
No, I grabbed this girl who was being a real bitch to me. I still stand by that she was being a bitch. And I grabbed her by the back of her head and smashed her face into a tree. And she bled profusely from her face. And then I got suspended for 2 weeks. And then I came back and I had gained the fear of my comrades.
And then the girl
And
came
I
up to you.
thrived on that fear for
And
years.
then the girl came up to you and she like
No, she left to
kissed
go
you
to
and
another
she was
school.
Like, thank you,
And thus a
thank you.
legend.
Please
That
do it again."
incident was the straw that broke her back, and she went to the Catholic school. And then we went to
And
high
then
school
Ryan
together. And
became
then,
a man.
And then she became a nun.
and then I drank her blood and became a man. Yeah. No, and then we went to high school together. So it was kind of futile. She never left me in the end. She's in my house now, underneath the floorboards.
Waiting for you
Screaming
to smash her into a
in
tree
pain.
again.
Yeah, to smash. Sounds so sexual when you said it. She just went for you to smash her into a tree again. Yes.
Please smash
I really
me
wanted. I really
again.
love this guy's eyes. I love.
Wait, is he from Harry Potter?
No.
Who does he look like?
Which one? Wait, which one?
Kingsley.
Wait, who's Ben Kingsley?
No.
Oh,
Wait.
there was a character in Harry Potter named Kingsley.
Oh, is he in part of the
Oh,
Magic
was
Government?
his name like
Yeah.
Kingsley Shacklebot or something?
Yes.
I-
Oh, yeah, there was. He was black, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see one black guy in a movie wearing
look,
a
I've
fez,
seen those
and you're
eyes
like,
before.
it's
No, no.
Kingsley.
In my head, I was like Kingsley. I recognized that name, and I was just trying to like associate like characteristics to him.
Well, you know, I don't want to say it may or may not be, but he was great in the film, I will say. You know, good job, Kingsley, Ben Kingsley. You really are a shapeshifter when it comes to ethnicities. You know? A dog! Oh boy, they're called Genevieve. Which is obviously the dog in the show, and I actually forgot there was a dog in
Hey,
the show.
the subtitle said he's so cute.
Well, maybe they don't, because they don't know it's called Genevieve yet.
But she just
And
said
now they're
that
saying
her name's
her.
Genevieve.
Yeah, now she's saying it, but now they're not saying
This
he.
is very realistic, Ryan. They didn't know, and now they know. And now
Yeah,
they
well,
know.
you know, when you see a baby that doesn't have any
Something is
pure
not right.
identifiable gender or an animal, you say he, most likely.
It's like how when we did Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, like
Yeah.
the little brother was played by twin sisters. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Another thing that I found funny in this film was, you remember when she was in the hospital
Yeah, I found it hysterical too when she was in the hospital and how.
and you thought she was gonna die?
Yeah, and I was like
And then it went
laughing. I was like, hold on to the fact that she got her appendix cut out because it's also going to be important later on.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the thing that I found funny was when they came to visit her and it was very brief and they left, everyone was going bye, 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 and then at the very end, one girl was like au revoir.
Yeah,
Like, oh, she remembered that they're in France.
Well, you know that half the cast of girls are French
Yep.
and the other half are English. That's something in this movie, Mischabella. They mostly speak with English accents. I mean, you know Claire.
Yeah.
She's not French.
No.
Are you, Claire? You can tell me in person. Contact me on the show. We'd love to have you on for one of your movies or a movie of your choice. Maybe you could tell us why there was no sequel to Madeline. I'd love to know.
And you can tell us what rebellious thing you did in your childhood.
Was it being Madeline? Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm pretty cool. I was in Madeline.
I would actually, if I was
She
Claire,
looks exactly the same.
as does Hatty Jones. Okay, Claire, you have to tell us, okay? Is there something about this film production in which you guys got taken away, injected with certain serums, or put in like a freezer, cryogenic freezer, in which it made you guys age and only getting taller? You know what I mean by this? Like, Hattie, by what I've seen of her, looks the exact same. And, you know, Mischabella just said that you look the exact same. So, like, please tell us, what was happening there? Is there something that we need to know? Did they stop you from aging? I don't know. Like,
So a little reminder to the audience, we have two things now that Ryan said that we need to hold on to. A, there's a little Asian girl, and B, the appendix thing.
yep.
So keep that in mind, audience, just don't forget.
Fun fact, that was Kingsley from Harry Potter.
Oh!
He was also in Raiders of the Lost
Fucking
Ark.
knew it.
Yeah?
Yeah, as
What?
he was also in Raiders of the Lost Ark as
Indian Joe.
Katanga or something. I imagine he was one of the guides or one of the. Oh my God! How good would it be if we accidentally found out he was the guy from Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark? The best bit where he's like the guy with the gun. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
The
that
guy.
gets-
No, yeah, the guy who gets shot. The guy with the
Yeah.
swords. How
Yeah.
good would that be? It's not, but how good would it be? Yeah, he was Kingsley. Oh well, you recognize one black man, you know them all. Mitch. next time he appears on screen.
That's my secret.
Mischabel's secret is next time he appears on screen, it's a 50-50 bet whether it's him or Idris Elba. You're like, you saw the Dark Tower
Idris
movie
is
trailer, and you're
hot.
like, hey, isn't that the guy from Madeline?
Yeah, isn't that Dave Chappelle?
Isn't that Dave Chappelle? See, look, here she is again. Now, this was a recurring thing. You know, that name there is the name of Lady Covington. And I really feel like that's a beautiful little thread line throughout the movie in which you saw that lady for one scene. And it was a really great, cohesive scene to make the end of the movie, spoiler alert, Mischabella, of why the Lord Cuckoo Face redeems himself and gives over to their demands of having school because he genuinely loved his wife and all that stuff. I knew that was going to happen. I didn't remember the movie, but I just went, this guy's acting in a way that is nothing but grief, you know? Like, even when you first saw him, he's really stern. I just said to myself, no, this is a guy grieving. Like, I understand. Here's something. If you had to have a villain, he should have been the villain, and they should have kept it for the exact same reasons. You realize the kids don't understand this is someone's process of grief.
And you've touched upon the point of why I thought that something, he'd be good in the end. The fact that this film is pointing out a villain and focusing on that at a certain point and not him. Like, at the climax of the film, there's, a whole vehicle chase sequence.
Yeah, there's a motorcycle truck buggy chase.
Yep, and, I made the joke really early on in this episode. For those of you that know the poster, that red scooter, that Madeline's riding and Miss Clavelle's on the back panicking. It's a nice image, isn't it?
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
It's not in the movie.
Yeah, but by that point,
simply understood.
By that point, the Lord Covington side plot hasn't been resolved, and it's not being focused on this. So it's like something still has to happen with that, and like the villain gets defeated. So are they gonna suddenly defeat that other villain guy?
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel that way, and that's not how it happens.
I really like these Indian people as well. About how they were like, yeah, it is peaceful. They did like, it's peaceful, and they just start like meditating for no apparent reason. And then she's really happy to be there. Hey, that's an Indian guy. Is that the guy from Big Bang Theory? I'm gonna look that up, Mr. Miller. No,
Sorry.
Was there any Indian characters in Harry Potter? Were there any Indian characters?
There were
twins. Parvati
and Padma. Padma, yes.
Yeah, Padme from Star Wars. I really love Natalie Portman playing an Indian boy.
In Goblet of Fire, they were...
In Gobblefire, yeah.
In Goblet of Fire, I believe the Indian girls were Harry and Ron's dates, the ball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I only remember Hermione's, who could have been Hatty Jones, by the way, sexy dress.
It wasn't.
Well, here's the thing, Mischabella. We've had this argument on the show before. Since we all grew up with Harry Potter, we were like similar ages as the people in them.
Just a bit younger, yeah.
Maybe younger, maybe older. You don't know Mischebella's age.
Just a bit younger.
You don't know Mischebella's age.
Well, I mean, for you and me, right?
Yeah, I'm talking, but I said all of us.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion of at what point in the movies is it okay to become sexually attracted to whatever cast members, whether it's Harry or Hermione.
Oh, right.
And I argued Goblet of Fire.
Keira Knightley.
Because we're talking about how Keira Knightley was actually 16 years old and bend it like Beckham. But she's fucking hot.
And Ryan grew up
Beckham.
with it when he was a
love
kid.
that movie.
She's 16 in that.
What?
I
She
feel
doesn't
bad
look
that
it.
I feel bad about even now when I watch the movie I'm like because I grew up with it, so I grew up with that feeling of
Yeah,
and with Harry
that
Potter
was an
that's
older
what,
girl to Ryan once.
yeah, she's still older now, but not in the film.
But
But it's like in Harry Potter, what point is it okay for me to have a boner about Hermione? To be honest, I don't even find her that attractive. I think it's because she's like the only girl in the movie
And you know what? Even
series.
I had a crush on Harry, but before I had a chance to for those feelings to develop, I got appendicitis.
And then you have to be taken to hospital.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's my heart? My heart, my heart! And we're like, get her heart! By the way, painkillers don't work on Mischabella, so don't try and give her any.
That's why I didn't watch the movie, because I lived it, Ryan.
Wow, look at that acting from her. Good, look at it. Look at her acting. Your friend. Look at her in the background. You're doing such an amazing job. Can we please talk about this movie? All right. enough begging for this minute in time. I'll do it in my review. It will be called A Plea. And then I'll send her the audio of that plea.
Are you gonna do like a Tyler Jewel thing for
Please
her?
fan me big. Can we talk Young Dracula 2? Why end it? It was good.
Anyway, thank you for listening. I have to work now.
I have much work to do. Your voice will be in the animated movie of Madeline as Sister Clavel. 'Cause you old now, lady.
Ooh. I've had a lot of laughs.
I'm not joking when I say it's Claire. She was the only actress that I looked up the IMDb page for that wasn't Hatty Jones and Frances McDormand. Like, you know, like they're the two leads.
Yeah.
She was the only one of the children that I actually properly read the infos for, looked up her movies. And her and Vicky, where I was like, oh, Vicky, she looks like Veruca. And that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, that's Veruca, yeah? No. All right. No. So, thanks, Claire, for the good work. Again, Madeline, great film. Really enjoying it.
I like how they don't explain what the whole deal was with him and the clown until
the end.
Until the climax. Because at this point, it's just like, what was that scene about?
It was about him saying, hey, don't molest the kids in front of me. Do you ever fear of clowns, Mischabella?
I don't like them.
Does anyone? Other than clowns?
It's not.
I'm not like deathly afraid or anything. I just get.
But you're not sexually aroused either.
No. Oh,
Like,
no.
say if you were married and your husband was like, hey, let's mix it up. And you're like, hell yeah. And you're like, naughty nurse. And he's like, no, sexy clown.
I mean, a lot of people might have understandable...
He has like a blow-up erection. Like, that's his thing. Like, with tied off balls.
Understandable...
Squeeze it and like honks like...
Confetti shoots out. It's only white though.
You like pull it just keeps
Keeps coming out. You pull like handkerchiefs, but as you pull it,
changes
but
color.
yeah, but it's all different shades of creamy white. And as you pull it, as you pull the handkerchiefs, the wetter they get. Like, it's just the best. Sexy clown.
Try Googling that right now to get some results.
He's got a red nose as well. And it's a nipple though.
Oh, penis, like freaking. What was his name in the movie?
Sexy clown?
No, Nothing But Trouble, the mayor.
Dan Aykroyd?
Oh, you mean the judge?
Yeah, the judge.
JP? Justice of Peace?
Yeah, he was Justice of the Peace.
That was what they called him, but he did have a name.
He did have an.
Well, this is not Nothing But Trouble. Also, you know, like, if it was, I would say Frances McDormand would easily play Demi Moore. Yeah.
I think she'd have a more practical holiday outfit.
Yeah, she would be in khakis.
Sexy nun.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Yeah, sexy nuns, because they're brides of Christ, and if anyone knows how to fuck, it's them. It's because they're dressed in such a non-revealing outfit. That's why.
Yeah.
And then when you have sexy nuns, you're like, ooh boy! And Catholicism has a lot of guilt, so you add that on top of the pile of sexiness, it's even better.
Madeline has no family.
So, Bartek, this is something I wanted to ask you. You and I are both from Catholic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
You more so than I. Like, you went to... Did you go to a Catholic school?
Yeah, primary school and both
that's-
high schools.
Yeah, we've kind of established that. But you got to go home at the end of the day. It
Is
wasn't
that
a
a
boarding
turd?
school. No, it was actually his acting career on his shoe.
On both shoes.
No, he wiped it onto the other.
Well, he had to take it off with the other shoe.
Yeah, which was the weirdest thing.
It was very.
It looked like melted chocolate because it was really sticky.
No,
like
I actually
caramel.
thought it was pudding. It looked like pudding to me.
Spoiler alert, we're all wrong.
Claire, you can tell us. I
What
imagine you
was
on
it?
set that day.
Yeah, she was the
What
camera.
does Nigel like
Did
to
you
work
eat
with?
Shit.
What does Nigel like to work with? He sounds like he was a bit of a standoffish guy in real life, but I think he had a heart of gold, like a hooker.
No.
And then Claire would be like, I don't know, they never let me see Nigel.
What
But
if
I did get to work on Young Dracula. Yeah, Claire, I'd
Yeah.
love to talk about that.
maybe he was a method actor and he was really cold. On,
Like
set.
physically, like he would obviously
Take a
like
shit on
He's
himself.
freezing.
he would put ice packs in his shirt.
To be colder?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see.
What did you think I meant?
I thought you just
He
meant
just
that like
beat that dog in the
he
head.
was really struggling with the weather.
That's
or
not my
something.
favorite dog moment, by the way.
I
Oh,
thought-
we're
I
not
thought-
there yet.
I thought you were just going with like he was struggling with the cold weather. and he
No,
was
no, no, he's a
shivering.
method actor. He wants to be cold. You know, in the movie The Thing, they filmed it like in the studio a lot of the time, and they lowered the temperature to what it would be like in the Antarctic, so that way the actors would feel it more, and it genuinely shows in that movie. Like it was one of those things where you say, "Come on, acting," but like directing being a bit over the top. But like it's one of those movies where that effort shines through, and I think this movie that effort shines through as well. Like I mean, look at Claire. I mean, they put no light on her just then, and I could still see her big eyes. I'm kidding, Claire. You know I love you. So, I mean, really, I wrote in my notes, because I write notes for this. I kept writing, I really like this Aggie girl. I wish she was like, you know what this movie reminds me of? We did a movie called Pan
Yeah.
on the show, and there was a character in that called Nibs, who was his best friend who got left behind. And I feel like this movie reminded me of that character, in which in commentary, I kept saying, I really would have liked to have seen that character more and more. Aggie's one of those
For
characters.
context, in that film, first 15
20 minutes is dedicated to them two
is
being together.
the start of that film is very much like Oliver set at the orphanage, and like those two are like best friends and they have a lot of chemistry together. And then when they all
Natural
get
chemistry.
taken away on the pirate ship, Nibs jumps off and isn't seen until the end of the film.
Yeah. It's really upsetting. So here's my favorite moment. Watch this. Is Claire the one involved? Yeah, Claire's involved. But I don't think... Watch this. Now look at the dog while this scene happens.
Okay.
Look at their feet and look at the dog while the scene emerges. It's nothing yet. I don't know who this woman is, but they focus on her. And look at this. She stepped on the dog's tail.
Oh
I
my
didn't see that.
god.
She stepped on the dog's tail and the dog freaked out.
Well, we need to go
The
back
girl
up
with
to
the
episode.
glasses stepped on the dog's tail and it went... If you had the sound, it went...
Oh, I was
And
focusing
it
on their
flipped out.
legs.
Sorry, yeah, the dog's with the legs, it's because she steps on its tail.
Oh, I need to see that later on.
So she stepped on the dog's tail. That was my favorite moment in the entire movie because I'm
Wow.
like accidental dog stepping.
Is that like in we've talked about this film a few times already? This episode, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Classic Willies?
During the first song where they're in the candy shop and the guy opens like the register. so
Are we
they
talking
go
about the Gene
behind-
Wilder one?
Yes.
Good.
Um,
Because I don't want to talk about that fucking abomination with Johnny Depp.
Calm down, calm down.
I saw that in the cinema.
Triggered.
Same.
Oh boy. I saw that in the cinema. I mean, the child actors were good. I thought the guy who played Charlie was great in that. But, like, John... I don't need to fucking know Willy Wonka's backstory with Christopher Lee. Who cares?
Chocolates.
Chocolate. I'm Christopher Lee,
No, but
and I'm
in-
going to be exposition bot
But in
for
that,
1,000.
but in that Candyman.
I'm an evil dentist. Ah.
All right, Ryan, shut up already. So in that the Candyman can song, he
Yeah.
opens up the register and like one of the girls, it like hits her right in the face and she flinches. Like actually, we'll watch that after this.
It's like in
We have
Teen
to.
Wolf when
It's-
you see a guy's dick in the background during the
What?
basketball game. I swear we talked about this last
Yes, we
episode.
did.
I need to see both these videos.
You need to see every video ever.
The great thing with the Willy Wonka one I just mentioned, it's like so obvious that I can't believe I missed it.
So, this movie has quite a lot about the circus. The circus is this encroaching danger. And I think I really liked that about the movie. Like, you see them in the city, you see the clown early on. Good job, Claire. Look at her here. Like, this is some... I'm not being silly. I mean this genuinely. I actually noted down in my notes, this was an out-of-character moment for Claire. Like, her character. Because she ran around, she's running around screaming, doing arm gestures like this. And I just wrote out of character, but then underneath it, I actually scratched out that note and wrote underneath, no that's just a kid.
Yeah.
There's something about child actors in major Hollywood movies, which this is, that they kind of forget about with kids, these little moments. That's why I really liked, this movie. I really like that they captured the elements of real life kids.
Oh, absolutely.
We watched a movie called Annie, the 2014 version, and all the kids in that didn't feel like real kids. I know it's a musical, but they felt like, and because they were orphans in their situation, but it's a very similar situation.
They were foster kids, Ryan.
Yeah, soz. And I feel like, I think...
Oh, my favourite line.
What is it? They're so stupid, that's why they're idiots. And I got a note down here, there's a little bit here. Look at Claire. She looked like she pretended... This is something I love about you, Claire. Great acting. They clearly didn't give her anything to shoot out of that gun. You could see the front of the gun, but she still shot it. She still aims it, pretends to shoot, gives a look of satisfaction like she got something, and puts the gun down. Look at her. She looks the exact same. It's so weird. Like, when I watch this, I'm like, I know her from something. And then I saw Young Dracula, and I'm like, honestly, Young Dracula came to Australia when I was older. I would say, like, in my teens.
Absolutely.
And I found out it came out in 2006 to 2004.
What?
It went from 2006 to 2014, apparently, on IMDb.
2006 is when I started my goth phase.
And that would have been perfect for that phase.
Yeah.
And but here's the thing: it's one of these kids shows. At least that's what it says on IMDb. That I've caught in my teens, and I said to myself, I don't know if you've had this, but when you catch kids shows, I think a lot of people our age got this with Adventure Time and the regular show. But for me, it was Young Dracula, where you said, "Where's this in my childhood?" Like, we had great shows growing up, but there's certain kids shows today that I have that with, where I'm like, man, I would have loved this as a kid. Or, man, this show is so good, even me as an adult enjoys it. And Young Dracula, I'll be honest, was that show for me. That was the first one where I was in my teens, and I said, man, if I was 8 years old, I would have been loving this show so much. Not saying I didn't love it now. I did. I really did. But I said, man, this could have been for me Ace Lightning. Ace Lightning was that show for me when I was 8 years old. I said, this is the show where everything is at. And then they did the second season, and they changed certain things up, and I didn't like it. I loved Upchuck in that, and there was that. And I said, Young Dracula is that show for the years below me, and I'm so jealous of them. Like, I can't go to... This is true. I think went to high school, I was talking about it to my friends, and they were all like, you're watching a kid show about Dracula, Sandman, or whatever. I'm like, it's good. And no one, and I swear to you, no one, if there was an unappreciated kids show, that's it.
That is it.
Claire, you did a bang up job in it as a sister. And I mean it. I actually want to watch it. Goodbye, Madeline. We're going to watch Young Dracula now. And Hatty Jones, Claire, why didn't you ask if Hatty Jones wanted to be in the episode? In an episode, she could have been great as like a long lost cousin. So here's something I really loved about this, Bartek. I really slapped you on the ass. I really wanted to know if this was going to be one of your favorite moments. Madeline gets captured, taken away. She's about to get taken away, but she sees this. And she turns around, and you turn around, and the camera's there, and you see these two dwarfs are watching, and they do nothing. They actually give so little apathy. They're like, I can't even bother.
Especially considering the fact that a couple of weeks ago we did the Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
I was really, kind of let down by the fact that they didn't really do more.
Yeah, we've been taught in Hollywood that circus freaks, if you will,
That's what they were called in that film.
Carnies are heroes. There was that great episode of The Simpsons where the carnies took over their house. Tragic story, but relevant to the modern day issues that we live in today.
There's a long set up joke in Austin Powers about carnies.
Yeah.
It was set up in the first film and then paid off. Well, referenced in the third one, yeah.
So, Mischabella.
Yeah.
With Madeline being a female-driven show, book, movie, did you really relate to it growing up?
No.
I wasn't a white-haired French girl with red hair. I was the opposite of Madeline.
No,
I had
it
parents
wasn't
for a
so
start,
much
you know.
that. It was,
Oh, you were
it was more
Pepito.
so the parents, and I wasn't so stupid.
I can tell you that's accurate. Michabella's like the smartest idiot
I didn't
know.
have a friend. So.
I didn't have friends.
Didn't have friends.
Come on.
I didn't have a dog growing up. I only got that recently.
You're a tragic
I
figure, aren't
know.
you? You know, when they're going to talk about in 100 years' time, they're going to be like, you know, there's going to be the Oedipus story, there's going to be like, you know, Death of a Salesman, and then there's going to be Mischabella.
Thunderpants.
Thunderpants, a story about a boy who just needs a fart. And Mischabella. There'll be the Fables. Great acting.
Yeah, that's the hat, holding the hat up that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, she's gonna be like, you don't know. There was a bit earlier where I asked one of the girls, what should I do? And they're like, hold up a hat. Yeah. So, Bartek, did you already say what your favorite moment in this film was?
I just said who my favorite character was.
Oh yes. Do you have a favorite moment in this film? Because this film, I asked Bartek, what did you think of this film before we did this? And he said it was nice.
It was a really nice film. Yeah.
And I think that's something this film really captures for children, is this tone of nice. It's non-threatening, but not in a milquetoast kind of fashion. And it captures Madeline. Madeline is something nice. I don't remember anything about it other than certain fragments, but I remembered it's nice. Oh, a bit of knee action. And but what was your favorite moment in this nice film?
It's hard to pick one because the whole film is just so great. But I
quite like the bra scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
because that's your good friend Claire wearing a bra, and you're like, I love Claire and bra.
I love Claire and I
What
love
were they called?
bras.
Booby
when she's
bags?
boobies.
Booby bag.
Boobies.
So, my pinpoint moment, I actually every now and then for Bartek, I say, I feel like this is going to be Bartek's favorite moment, but I don't think this is one of them, but I want to bring it up before. I wanted this to be like, I hope Bartek really noticed this moment. They go to the campground. Here they are. And this guy who looks a lot like, what's his name from Casablanca?
Oh,
Rene. No.
I'm not as familiar with Casablanca as you are.
Claude Rains' character. Pierre. No, it's something. But he looks like him. But I wanted to know if you noticed the fact that Sister, was it Clavel?
Clavel.
Miss Clavel.
Yeah.
Miss Clavel.
Fuck it. Clavel. She goes on the instinct of the dog casually looks in a direction and barks. And she's like, aha, I'll get in my car. Because you know sniffer dogs still work in cars, right?
Yeah, of course.
And she drives from night to day around and around the forest. I just want to notice if you notice this. Like, look at this here. She notices the dog just barking in a general direction. And she's like, I have enough faith in God. And that's what I like. There's a moment where she has a crossroads. She takes a breath and points up to the sky, obviously towards God, and takes the correct path.
That's a whole thing that she's been doing throughout the movie. The fact that she can suddenly sense that something is
Not right.
And I feel like maybe the dog barking is just another form of that sense. Maybe instinct is one of the things most important
It's a
in life.
sign.
It's faith, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that there is a moment in the film in which Madeline has a different point of view where she says, you know, have faith, and Madeline's like, you just can't wish for things. I did that with my parents and it changed nothing. And you know, Miss Claver, she looked at her and recognized what she said and kind of took it on board, which is kind of nice to see from a nun as well. Like the idea of a religious authority figure being told, hey, faith isn't enough, and recognizing that, because I think that's what I liked when I had my Catholic experience. I'm not practicing anymore. I wouldn't say I'm agnostic. I would say I went to scripture. That was like the forced religious thing that we had to do at primary school.
We called it RE, religious.
Yeah, and my Catholic teacher, she was just, I can't remember her name, but she was just really hip and cool and with it. She was an old lady, but she just was really down to earth and was like, hey, if the kids don't get it or don't understand or don't like it, fair enough. Well, I think with like lots of religious people or institutions, especially something scary like nuns, she wasn't a nun, my one, But like with nuns or priests or any religious figure, they are intimidating. I think that's something about nuns. They're very intimidating because they got that most of the time, that black and white outfit that covers most of their body, and they give that look like they're hovering from place to place. There's something very intimidating about a nun. I mean, it is like what they're supposed to look like brides, yeah, because they are brides of Christ.
Yes.
But they're like deaf.
I mean, even in The Sound of Music, where they were like in a positive light, they were still kind of like a bit strict.
Yes, Mischabella, you were grabbing your hand towards the screen like you loved that she sneezed.
Like a skeleton wanting to pick something up, but they're not strong enough.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a favourite moment, huh? Too many.
Yeah, I think it would have to be something to do with Miss Clavel, though, because I really, really liked her character. Especially the whole caring aspect, the motherly aspect. I just feel like, and also because, just for a little context, I've lately been doing some teaching placements and working with a lot of young people. Just seeing that kind of sensitivity there, that, kind of touched me.
Touched him. Like, emotionally, not physically. Soz about that.
So in the copy, because I guys, this is a little confession. I watched this movie. I streamed it online, and I had to watch two separate copies because the first one I found
only an hour
cut
long.
off an hour and 13 minutes. So literally, you remember how they were still trapped in this little van here, and they were saying like, "I won't run away with you," and then it cut to the guy on the unicycle and he trips over.
Wait, hold on a sec. I love this. He does a shit job, and the other guy goes, "You're getting better." Like at catching, at catching. You're getting better at catching. That's like he wasn't throwing it or doing the tricks. He was just catching. I noted that down. Sorry, Bartek, you were saying?
So you know how the guy was on the unicycle and he trips?
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as he hit the ground, that's when it ended. So I'm like, oh, that's the end of the film.
Finn.
He's dead.
This movie also ends with Finn, by the way, Mischabella. The movie comes up with
Naturally.
Finn.
It's more
Anything
French.
with Claire in it is a Finn-worthy movie.
And also because it's set in France, Ryan.
I know that. But what I'm indicating...
Could you not tell because of the Eiffel Tower that begets?
Shut up. I'm trying to get friends with a celebrity because she was in Madeline and Mischebella's like the close connection. So if Mischabella links this to her and she hears me saying like she's a Finn-worthy actress, that's like stroking the ego, and maybe
She's like a fish.
she'll become my friend and she can make
stinky
and then
fish.
when they make Madeline 2 where they're all grown up, I can play her brother.
Claire, you're a
Also
stinky
called-
Why
fish.
did you go for brother and not love interest?
Because I think of Claire in this film like a sister. No, you see, I don't want to be her lover because I've grown up. See, that's the weird thing. She's a child actress. I've grown up with her in kid-related material such as Young Dracula and this. And no offense, Claire, there's no point in either of those materials where I'm like, yeah, I want to kiss that girl or do something like, and be a love interest. I want to be like the brother that she picks on. You know what I mean?
Oh, Ryan's a little masochist.
Yeah.
Or no, like in Lizzie McGuire. You know, like in Lizzie. What I'm saying, Claire, is I want you to be the. I love the Lizzie McGuire. Again, another show where the dad was one of the best characters.
Absolutely.
One of the best characters. But in that show, her brother and her had this great rivalry relationship. I want that relationship. But you know what I mean? Like, not masochist, but like, they both rivalry, but it's kind of like the sister, the older sibling, or the sister, was always the winner in those debates more so. I like those.
Do you want to have a relationship with her like the siblings in Troll 2?
Deaths, where she teaches some sick dance moves, and I'm like,
Who's eating your little brother?
goblin spelled backwards.
This is their kingdom!
Oh God, there you go. Thanks God. I love the dog. Yeah, I love about animal actors is that since the animals, they don't look in directions that would be normal, so the dog is like just looking around at obviously cameras and
The
shit.
crew, yeah.
Like,
This isn't the shaggy dog, Ryan.
so Bartek, anything you want to talk about when it comes to this film? Anything you want to ask Mischabella or myself?
I think I'm just happy to go along with as the film goes.
How is she driving with a dog and not cuddling it?
I suppose the question... because she's allergic.
He's allergic. But
I don't believe that for a second.
What about when she was
Not
sneezing?
even sneezing.
I like how
Her eyes
seriously-
are not puffy.
See, when we have guests or myself that ask questions like that, there's usually an air of cynicism to it, like, I'm setting up a gag here. But Mischabella was so sincere in that line that I genuinely believe Mischebella's like, I just don't understand how you can do that. Like, it's animal cruelty.
I don't.
I really like the fact that the idiots' helmets were perfect size for small children. My ad. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but Hatty Jones has grown up, and I've seen what she looks like now, but let's go off the kid version of her. She has a tiny head, but a big forehead.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
It doesn't help that she doesn't have eyebrows, so it looks even bigger.
She has eyebrows. They're just blonde.
Yes.
And thin.
And
No
then, while
eyebrows.
Pepito has more eyebrows than anyone.
Well, he's Spanish.
But he is Spanish. I love, wait. He grabs his hat. Like, why?
To hide the
Oh, look, those
thing.
guys came out in the 1930s. Good for them. Get it? It's a
Such a
reference
nice
to
color,
when the
blue.
books were.
But this film's set in the 50s.
Is it?
Yes.
Wait, is it?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, is this film really set in the 50s? I thought it was set in 1998.
It had to have those.
No, are you
frocks
shitting me?
That they wore.
I read in the trivia, it's like set in the 50s, isn't it?
Oh, I thought this was like the book was written in the 40s.
Yeah, but they wanted to. The
my-
book was set in like the 30s, but they wanted to avoid World War II references.
Wait, is this set in the 50s?
That's just what I read.
I'll have
At
to ask
no
Claire.
point Did this
Only do
strike
I-
me as, oh, this is.
You know what? It's
I just thought
Thunderpants
this
all
was
over again.
France.
But here's the thing. You're dealing with, here's the thing. You're dealing with a source material that's based in the 30s, but the looks are so iconic, you couldn't really change them into a modern setting. Like, nuns look like nuns. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not going to change. And she had the
Orphans look like
grey,
orphans.
and she had the grey outfit most of the time, you know, or the simple black. But their outfits are so iconic, how can you not do them? But the rest of the characters all look like they could be now. Like, look at her.
Yeah.
She looks like she could be now. Oh my.
Yeah, European.
Cooks
now.
usually have like terrible taste in clothing, so
Wow.
that doesn't surprise me.
Far out.
Oh, this is the chicken.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Wait. Look at Claire in the background. She's knocking it out like, oh. But here we have.
And now we show you the chicken.
See, I guess with someone like him, he's a lord, and they still dress like that.
Yeah.
I'm not denying it, but I'm just blown away. But here's something that I read in one of the reviews. I don't know if I included it because there were only 4 pages of reviews, but one of them's like, yes, I know that Uzbekistan wasn't a free country when the film was made, so they wouldn't have their own ambassador. But this is kid stuff.
Okay. Yeah, kids
Like-
know all about ambassadors.
Well, Claire knew. Claire was the one on the set that day. I know Claire fairly well now that I know Mischabella. Mischabella can back me up on this.
And I know,
Yeah.
right?
Claire said to the director, who had 5 names, about half as much as the amount of girls. And Claire said, looked the director straight in the eye and said, yeah, I may only be, 8? I don't know how old. But I know that Uzbekistan is not a free country, so they would not have their own specialized ambassador. They would have someone from somewhere else. And the director looked Claire in the eye and said, you're a star, and you're going to go places with that kind of mind.
So, Ryan, are we bracing ourselves for the final plot twist?
She doesn't know Claire.
No, of the film.
I would be fucking annoyed if Mischebella's like, I actually researched the film to pick one specific character to say I knew them because you would not deny that. And I would be like, you got me, hook, line, and sinker. But she knew a lot about young Dracula. So that's, Mischebella's a shapeshifter.
I'm really good at research.
What's the twist?
The twist is that man's not the ambassador, it's the
What?
woman!
In the 50s? See, this is where you really confuse me. In the 50s,
Yeah.
Uzbekistan has a female ambassador.
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan in 1950s was the most
Woman.
progressive country in the world, I guess.
Yeah.
You know Uzbekistan, known for progression.
Fucking, I'm not the one that
It's
said
their
it was
tagline.
I mean, That's just what I read. It's set in the 50s, apparently.
Far out.
59, I think.
59's when my dad was born. I'll ask him. Hey, Dad. Yeah,
When you
was
were
Madeline
pushed out
the
of
film based in this year? Well, of course,
he
that's when
looks
Castro got
familiar.
in power.
That was the year I was pushed out of a vagina.
You
I
don't
remember
know.
everything.
You don't know. He could have been cut out.
That's a fair point. My brother was cut out.
As you should be of the show. We'll just cut out all of you.
What?
We'll just cut you out of the show. Wait, she's with the hammer and sickle. Yeah, maybe this is 1950s because by then the Soviet Union was already collapsed in 1998.
I didn't notice that.
Shit! Bartek has blown the lid on this conspiracy. Where was Claire to uncover this mystery for us on the show? Slowpoke Claire, I call her.
So does this mean that this is gonna now be a communist boarding school?
I actually said to my girlfriend Rachel, I said,
you
you can keep the school, but only if you teach Uzbekistani traditions. And I'm saying that yes, she would then enforce that kind of Soviet ideals. I'm so.
Dog!
So
And this is no shit. I actually wrote this. This happens where they say you can keep the school, and then what song plays?
I see you green.
And then I said, wait, is this the end of the movie? And then look, Claire says, yes, it is. Look at Claire, look at her go. Like, Hattie is really excited, but Claire, like, look at her. She's more excited than this
She lost
show.
her
Look
hat.
at her. They all lose that because Miss Claire, look at her. She picks them all up like a pro. But, like, you know, for some reason, the movie just ends. And I'm like, whoa, okay, it ended. Like,
The end
I
of running.
didn't know that there was gonna. I didn't think there was gonna be more, but I didn't think there was gonna
Yeah, I
be
was gonna say,
nothing.
what
And then it
else could
transitions
happen?
into...
The dying.
And then it has a pop song version about the movie that you just watched. You know that, right? You listened to it.
A part of it, yeah.
Finn.
I listened to it. Went through the whole credits. So instead of reading a review, I'm just gonna read Claire. She's 28 years old. Good job, Claire. And you're an actress and a talent agent. Good stuff, Claire. Very
Claire
proud
Thomas.
of you. Yes, Claire Thomas. Was born. That's good. You know.
She was. That's a start. Solid start.
Yeah. She's an actress and a talent agent. Oh, obviously known for Dracula, young Dracula. Yeah, Madeline, of course, and Fungus, the boogeyman. Now, Claire, I'm very proud of your work. You know, this is something, you're known for Fungus. Also, that looks like an animated movie. It looks like a ripoff of Shrek. I really want to talk to you about that film, by the way, Claire. And you're also in a Michael Caine movie? Why didn't you change your name to Michael? That's the question I'm going to ask you. You're only 5'3", Claire? Come on. You look so tall in this movie. I could have sworn that
There's
you
a
at least...
person, costume supervisor, Germinal.
Hey!
Randall.
I've got a question, Claire. Like I'm saying, like she's going to answer back. Were you in fact shorter than Hatty Jones?
No.
Or was Hatty Jones really, really short? Like, because you're 5'3" now, according to your IMDb. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe they're misrepresenting you. But if you're 5'3", how tall were you then? Like, were you at least 4'11"? I don't know. What?
Dude, don't look at me. I know nothing about children.
You were one once.
So?
Did you know?
You don't know how old she is, Ryan.
Did you know that Claire, she's apparently studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City, graduating in April 2011. Did you graduate, Claire? I'm so happy if you did. She did?
Ryan,
Were you there?
Could I suggest what she might say when she meets you? I think she'll say, "Thanks for reading all my personal information."
No, this is
On the
public
podcast.
information. She attended Jackie Palmer Stage School and is part of the agency. Great, can you sign us up? I would really like to be full-time working with the girl who played possibly one of my favorite characters in Madeline. Ah, man, all of her information is she attended a school. Like, and then she attended an all-girls school. And then she has a younger sister named Sally. Oh, awesome. I love born in 1990. Is Sally an actress too? Please tell me. And that's my review. I give this a rating I give this a Claire out of Thomas. Please come on the show. No. I'll be honest.
Please.
I said I was going to do a plea here. Claire, you're important to us. Mischabella knows you, apparently. Have you physically met?
Yeah. In New York.
In New York?
New York!
You know Mischabella. And we know Mischabella. And we strive to talk about these types of movies. I would really like to hear your experience about working on a movie like this, what it has done for you afterwards. Has it rippled effect in your life? Have people noticed you from Madeline? Do you like the film? Do you hate it? Do you keep in touch with any of the people? Did you make lifelong friends or enemies? What was it like? I would really like to hear the experiences. We like to joke around, and I've made a lot of jokes throughout this episode about you, and not in any negative sense, of course. If you're hearing this plea out of context, I think you were genuinely good in this movie. You and Hattie were, and all of the girls, I think, were really standout performances. You captured something that certain child actors don't capture in mainstream movies or aren't allowed to capture. I don't know what the process behind this was, whether the director or the writing really helped, or you just really are in tune with how it was at the time to capture realism for like being a child in a film. I know you were a child at the time, but you know what it's one of those things where certain child actors just feel really artificial. I liked this movie, I liked your performance, and I would like to actually hear from you. We strive to talk about movies that are unappreciated. I'd like to know if you think this is an unappreciated movie, or if this is A grade, or if this is trash. I'd just like to hear your point of view. That's my plea to you, Claire.
Yep.
You don't have to answer. We're not forcing you to, but yet again, Mischabella will give you a disappointed look.
It's very,
I mean,
being on the receiving end of a disappointing look for me is like,
you don't need it, but I was that kid at school that recommended Young Dracula to everyone.
oh yeah, me too.
Now, Ryan,
You didn't need that because it was an A grade show and you were A grade in it. But I think I've paid my dues for you. You have to pay them back.
All right, but Ryan,
You owe me.
just
You
remember there
owe
are-
me. You owe Bartek. You owe the whole world, I think, your views and your voice about your career,
Ryan,
especially
there's,
in regards to Madeline.
There's some other
Thank
people
you.
you need to talk to as well.
Yeah,
We call them the listening people.
listening people, you need to get on to Clare Thomas and tell her we need to hear what you have to say, Claire. Claire, this is the final thing I have to say in this plea. Clare Thomas, you are a pro at what you do. And I mean this sincerely. I've only seen 2 of your major works. And, watching the one where you were a young child, I could tell from there you could go on to do more. And you have. And that's what I like about you. You are a go-getter. You're a star. Come on the show and tell us what it's like to be a star. Thanks.
Now review the movie.
Yeah.
My review is she's great. 5 out of 5.
Great.
Mischabella. I mean it. That's my review.
Right, sure.
I actually think my favorite character is her now. Mischabella, what about you?
Really?
You just watched the movie for the first time. We talked over it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Honestly, I liked it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. I wasn't repulsed by it. I think a lot of, if you're taking something so, I don't know, it was such a simple show, such a simple book series. It's not something you're like, oh, this definitely needs to be in a live action version. But then I think the reason why I didn't feel compelled to watch it, knowing that it was out, and I think it was on TV once, and I never actually watched it.
Apparently in Canada, it's very popular.
Very.
It plays a lot.
Hear that, Claire? You're popular in Canada. So,
Canada loves you. But I felt because, 1, I didn't think it was necessary, but 2, that I was afraid that something so simple and nice would be just I don't know, stripped of all of its niceness and simplicity by being converted into
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, basically. I was afraid. I was scared. I was scared, guys.
But then you found out your friend Claire was in it.
Yeah.
And did that change
and that
everything?
was like the first time. Like, is that Claire? Yeah. That changed everything. That changed the whole experience.
Hear that, Claire? You're a game changer.
But no, I really liked it. It wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't. I don't know. What would you call it? Like, it's not.
Unappreciated masterpiece. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
That's literally the title of
we
the
should
show.
call that. We should call this show that.
What?
Unappreciated masterpiece.
Because currently the show is called Sucking Up to Claire, so we should
Yeah.
change it to...
We should
No,
change
it's not called Sucking Up to Claire. It's called Telling the Truth About Claire.
Claire exposed.
Claire Thomas uncovered.
What if this is like secretly the first episode where we finally decide what the show's called?
The Claire Files. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. In which
Do you
three
remember-
brave
do you
people
remember-
talk about Claire.
Do you remember the Zach Files?
Yeah. Can we do the Claire Files in which three people, only one of which knows her personally, and maybe not even that well? We don't
No.
know the validity of this.
I know.
Talk about Claire Thomas for
It's
an
a
hour
long
every
time ago,
episode.
dude.
We'll do 100 episodes
How long
of
has it been
talking
since
about
MySpace?
Claire Thomas. It's been about 10 years.
Yeah, well, we're looking at 10 years.
Come on, you can just hit her up on MySpace.
I forgot my password.
You fuck. You should remember that your password is Claire Thomas 101. If you had to give this a rating.
And then the security question, like, what's the name of your bestie?
Claire
Claire
Thomas. If you had to give this movie a rating, you don't have to give it a Claire Thomas out of Claire Thomas, but what would your rating be for a film like this?
I would definitely rate it maybe 5 out of 5 baguettes.
Okay.
Not to be confused with baguettes.
Is it
Baguettes are different.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more
Is it
homophobic for
just-
some reason.
is it just the number 5 out of 5 baguettes? Or is it
I am
5
number
baguettes
5,
out of 5
yeah.
baguettes?
It's the number 5.
Okay, so there's like a bit of
Five
conversion
baguettes,
going on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an intellectual answer.
Bartek, you're an intellectual person, so I imagine you give an intellectual review. Like we did just now.
Yeah.
I am very smart. I have in my dad's tractor. We go buy apples.
That's very offensive, Bartek, to
Was that
people
your
with
Irish
tractors.
accent?
What?
You know the Irish, they're part of the UK. Whether they want to be or
All
not.
of it.
So,
According to Bartek.
Bartek's a bit slow on the upkeep. We're making fun of your Irish accent from earlier on. It's like that was your Irish accent.
Yeah, I'm just still confused about the whole. There is an island in the UK, but you're like defaulting
You're
to
talking
me.
about Northern Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a major thing that you can pick up upon. Northern Ireland is where the Protestants, Irish, mainly live, right? And then there's Ireland, as in Ireland, the one that is like Ireland, with the government,
Republic
with its own
of
government
Ireland.
and system, and that's the Catholic one with all the history and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying there's a major difference. I'm not saying that when you walk over the line, you're going to be like, one place is green and the other's brown. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, like, if you walked up to an Irishman, a normal Irishman, and said, you're a part of the UK, they would punch you.
Right.
Did you know the Irish during World War II did not take part except for allowing Nazi spies to use Ireland as a way to get to England quicker? Because they hated the English that much. That much.
So,
they hated the English.
I guess one major question I would have is: are their accents much different?
Yes.
Yeah, they're different.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I think, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think Liam Neeson is Northern Irish. And I think, like, Colin Farrell is Irish. Like, and they have a different drawl. Like, yeah, they're different.
It is different.
It is
Well-
different. It's like how, you know how different it is in Australia when you go from Western Australia to the Eastern Australia? Oh, no, there's no difference. What is it with Australia? Okay, Mischabella, you have an accent that indicates that you're not from Australia necessarily.
I'm Australian.
I know.
I know.
Does it bother you? Like, even in America alone, every place you throw a stone, or I'm sorry to interrupt your review, but
I haven't started it yet.
but
so
you
that's okay.
you throw a stone and there's a different accent each state, each district.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the same, if not more concentrated in the UK.
But in Australia, there is no difference. I feel. I live here,
feel
and I
there
don't
is no
hear a
difference.
difference between a Queenslander and a Victorian. I wouldn't go, like, in America, you could be like, yeah, that's a Texan. Or yeah, that's a guy from Boston. But in Australia, I can't go like,
You're
oh,
honestly-
Bartek, that's a guy from Victoria. Definitely. Like, that's
Oh
a
my
Melbourne.
God, he's from
That's a
New South
Melbourne
Wales.
boy.
He's
Like,
from the ACT.
here's the only difference I could tell. You can go, he is a bogan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he is not a bogan.
Yeah. That's about it.
Like, you have this voice, and then you have, crikey, fuck.
And then you have
yeah,
someone who
fucking,
can have either voice, but they're holding a
fucking
pickaxe.
yeah, nah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, nah, bruh. Fuck yeah, bruh. So, Bartek, start your magnificent review that's not based on Australian accents and how there's no differentiation between locations for them. It's not like I'm gonna rock up to Wagga Wagga and be like, typical Wagga
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 Wagga.
accent. You don't get this in Port Harbour. I mean,
Look, in conclusion to the whole Ireland thing, I think you just read a lot into what I said.
I know, I just made one statement and you were like, "Blah," and then both Mischabella and I were like, you don't get this, and you're like, I don't, and then we had to explain it to you.
Yeah.
And then you made me feel bad. You made fun of me. and
We
I
have
felt
Irish
bad.
listeners, and they're not up for this shit.
Irish
I'm
listeners.
pretty sure they would be so grateful that we went into it and we fleshed this out.
Yeah, they'll be
very
very grateful for that, but they wouldn't be grateful if we didn't. Like, if Bartek was like, yeah, they're by the UK, they'd be like,
They'd be seething.
ah!
I
Hi, Hatty!
amend it to the UK area.
Okay,
So it's,
Okay.
Alright,
well,
so the Irish
hold up.
accents in both those places that have island and name are different, though?
somewhat, yeah.
Okay, somewhat. I was just generalizing, and I apologize
Okay.
for that.
Yeah, you're fucking racist.
And if that's not good enough,
It is
if
good
that's
enough.
not good enough, then hey, I'm Polish. Fuck everyone from that area for not helping us in World War II.
Yeah, but the Polish people have got their revenge on the UK by stealing all their jobs.
Oh yeah, they're very upset about that, weren't they? Last year when Brexit happened.
Oh, damn you, Polish people! We're gonna make Britain great again. So,
Yeah, you know, Winston Churchill gave the two fingers, put him up his ass,
I thought you were just gonna be like, flip them.
put down the index and keep the middle one up and make sure
Nah.
you aim it at him, because that's keeping
In
them
the
in
UK, they don't do the middle finger as solidly as they do the two fingers.
Yeah.
But it just...
Shotgun.
Victory.
Shogun. My favorite moment. One of my favorite moments of Hot Fuzz
Yeah.
is when they recount a story when Nick Frost recounts that they can't accept gifts and whatever and all that, and he's just like, Shogun. The outtakes to that one scene alone is almost as good as in the episode of Seinfeld where you get the outtakes for Jerry Stiller talking to Elaine, and he's
Oh,
like,
she
"You want to have a go at me?"
Yeah, I
They
remember
keep
that.
breaking. Bartek, what is your review?
Giggly Gillian.
The guy who played Kramer hates her for laughing. He's
Laughs
very
too much.
no, like at all. Like he's very serious actor. Like
Yeah.
for comedy. Like if you ever see him behind the scenes, he's intimidating as fuck. He will be like, "Come on,
he
we've
looks
got work
crazy.
to do." Like really serious
Wow.
for somebody who plays Kramer, the most
Yeah.
relaxed.
You know what, though? That kind of makes sense.
Because he is a supreme racist. So it all adds up. Bartek,
All right, putting the foot down. This is my review. Please don't interrupt. Let's just get it out of the way. I am going with the whole unappreciated masterpiece thing. I like that name. I'm going to go with that for my review. This film, I didn't know it existed. I was vaguely aware of the property that it is an adaptation of. And much like a lot of things we've done on this show, where my first inkling into them, pardon me, was the film Thunderbirds. There was another one, not Bewitched, because I'd seen a few episodes. I'll come back to it later. I was Starsky and Hutch. I was
Classic.
very happy to see I was going to say modern, but an interpretation of the work from an era in which I was breathing, eating, and sucking the air out of the air while the films were being made.
I think this was the same time the Avengers came out as well.
Yeah, very similar to Revolver and Bowler Hat. I amend my previous statement to be sucking the oxygen out of the air. That's why it was a bit awkward. I'm very sorry. Scientists are now also upset with me, just like the Irish.
Especially Northern Irish scientists.
Northern scientists.
All scientists from the north are very upset.
Well, no, the not Northern ones would be upset, right?
No, the Northern ones are upset.
But the Northern Irish ones are part of the UK, so that's like the...
Yeah, but they're not happy that you confuse them either.
Okay. What did I say about interrupting me, Ryan? This film is brilliant. I think we could label it as a comedy because there are funny moments, but it also, family is definitely a strong label we would put onto this because it is a very, as we said, charming, wholesome film that it did fall into that trap of creating a villainous antagonist, and those sometimes work, sometimes don't. I would say that this one didn't really detract from the experience too much. We still got the opportunity to see a great character like Miss Clavel, or Clave, or whatever you called her, Ryan.
Miss Cleaver. Yeah.
We got to see a motherly character who also touched upon this kind of character archetype of a nun, which is Ryan has a lot more experiences with nuns, clearly, because he talks about them a lot.
Yeah, I have none of it.
Get out.
That was a good one. Just make the blackout joke and we'll be done. Oh, you're actually leaving. See you, Ryan.
He is.
Maybe he's just peeping. Maybe he's kissing his girlfriend. Maybe he's looking for Claire.
He's taking a shit.
Who knows? Ooh, poopy. Oh, I can sit in front of the microphone now. Now you can all hear me better.
All right.
Oh shit, he's back.
Oh my god.
Guys, I have some fantastic news.
Yes.
I'm interrupting Bartek's review for fun.
It's fantastic news. I need to hear
Okay,
it.
guys, I went outside and I saw Clare Thomas.
Oh, that's
And
right.
she said to me, Ryan, the trick to this movie was I became a nun. You should become one too. So when I went outside just then, Claire told me that, and guys, I'm a nun now. So I'm allowed to make that I'm none of this kind of joke, okay, Mischabella? So you're making rude statements to one of the servants of Christ, a bride of, and as a real nun
Well, we're not
would
making, we made, but back then you weren't.
as a real nun would do, I punish you physically. There you go. Bartek.
Thanks for not hitting me.
Well, you didn't make fun of me as much, okay?
Okay.
You didn't tell me to get
Just
out.
left
You said
out.
it was a good one. I moved my head towards him and he flinched. And that's already proving that I, Sister Ryan, am a nun because even my physical movements
gonna
make
lie.
others feel.
Truly,
Mr. Ryan sounds good.
Sister Ryan, please.
Ryan.
So,
truly, I see Jesus in you. For when he hit people, they also behaved.
yeah.
This film, without even necessarily mentioning him or having any sort of symbology outside of maybe a cross, really does bring in the message of Jesus. And I think that regardless of, where you come from, regardless of what you think of nuns, regardless of what you think of churches or religions or anything like that, you've all experienced being children. You've all surely seen children in your day-to-day lives. It's just a very real film that didn't need anything super flashy, but it also did have unrealistic things, like the whole instinct thing, like something is not right, it's left. I just think that this is a hard film to talk about. I think we've done a good job. We kind of danced around by being like, let's talk about Claire instead.
She is the film.
But I do think that, regardless of what you think of anything, watch this film. You will walk out of it feeling better about yourself. You will walk out of it wishing to see the actors in more things. Because, to be honest, there are a lot of names in this film that I didn't recognize. Even the big Oscar winners, only when I looked up, I'm like, oh, these
Like
people.
Claire.
And if I had to give this rating a film, if I had to give this film a rating,
If I had to give this rating a film, it would be Madeline.
I would give it as wholesome a rating as this following image is violent. You've got the dog Genevieve.
Yeah, that's the name, yeah.
It's
Should
just
be
sitting
Claire.
there. The dog stands up on its 2 feet. Woo, look at me, I'm standing. and then
Show gets vagina.
and you see its tummy. You see its
Yeah.
tummy.
Grotesque
All of a
display.
sudden, a baguette comes out of its stomach, like cuts down,
Very phallic.
and and there's another baguette also.
Very phallic.
Hands are like pulling apart the skin. Claire Thomas comes out wielding these two magnificent bloody baguettes. As violent as image as that is, I give it as wholesome a rating as that violence.
Thanks, Claire, for really... See, Claire, you've inspired us. Just by your body of work, thanks. So, people, Claire, were also inspired to say their own thoughts on the film. Whether they mention you specifically, well, you have to listen up, Claire. Bartek has comments from YouTube, because you know YouTube. It's a lovely place. And I have reviews from IMDb, because you know IMDb. It's a polite place. I'm going to read an IMDb review with 9-star rating from 1999. And it is great.
And is this going to relate to
I'm
the two
looking
things you
forward
wanted us
to
to keep in
this.
mind?
The reviews will. I'm not sure this one in particular, but
Okay.
we will. You'll know what they were. Bartek, you want to remind them what they were? The
So we
things?
had an Asian girl that you wanted us to
Yeah.
remember, and the other
Appendix.
appendix.
Okay, so this is lively, endearing, and sweet. What a children's film should be! Whether or not this film was critically acclaimed by the so-called experts or not is irrelevant. The real experts are the children who watch, are captivated and endeared by Madeline's well-cast characters. Every child I know, including my own, that has seen this film, loved it, and has begged for it on video. Parents may not see this as daring, frolicking action adventure, but rather as a sweet and funny children's film, which is, after all, what it was designed to be. There are so few films that really meet a parent's expectations for what they want their children to see and can trust to not be profane. Many children's films that were G-rated are being remade now as PG under the guises that parents will want to watch them too. But do the kids really need the addition of bad language and sexual innuendo? Madeline, the movie, is true to the author's original storyline and keeps its poetical, lyrical style and flavor. The children and adults in the cast are true to what the author's characterizations were intended to be, rather than so-called modern version of it. It is childhood at its best and its worst, with realistic villains instead of the monstrous far-fetched, and the more and more of the genuine fun and whimsy that childhood is supposed to possess. Children everywhere adore this film. As an adult, I appreciate it and applaud it. I wish filmmakers would take notes and produce more films like this. Truly for children and solidly G-rated. After all, children are the best experts on what they like, and they love this. So do I.
I don't think it's G-rated because they specifically say "damn" a few times.
They hold on to that too, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember if that's included. I'm going to read one more. Who said kids don't recognize good movies? And this is a 9-star review from the Dominican Republic.
Yay.
I saw it when I was 8 or so. More than once, I believe, since I remember it perfectly. Around 10 years ago. And I can say that this was a great movie with a great message. Movies like that are missing these days. Sometimes I'm just sorry for films supposedly for children, but with plots or storyline that I think are an insult to their intelligence. Madeline was an innocent, simple, and funny movie that I really enjoyed and highly recommend to families. Reminded me of Matilda. I can't wait to see it again when I have kids. I didn't think that the little girl Hatty Jones in any other... I didn't see that little girl Hatty Jones in any other movie, which I think is very sad for child actors. But Frances McDormand is very funny. This one's got a sweet one there. Bartek, was YouTube as sweet and pleasant as IMDb?
They're very... they're actually very pleasant in this
Really?
comment string, yeah.
No.
Hope so. Did you find these on the trailer?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is... A lot of the vibes that I got out of the comment section for this trailer was basically nostalgia and happiness.
Nice.
Literally, the first comment is, I still have my VHS tape of this, less than 3, heart symbol. One of my favourite movies.
Was that supposed to be Broken Heart?
No, less than 3 is, like the heart.
Oh yeah, just normal heart.
Chicken.
Chicken.
We're
You
not,
thought it what?
we're not up to the chicken line yet.
Okay.
Initial comment. Why are they British? First response. A lot of French characters have British accents for some reason. I think it's because the producers think that the American audience is so stupid that they won't know the difference because both are European countries. Next response. Gross. Next response. I'm American. Even I know that's bull.
Just bull.
And the last response that I will read. I am also American, and I am not stupid.
Mischabella, with a girl with an American accent, do you feel stupid? Read us one more.
Oh my god. That is beautiful.
Initial comment. They're French with English accents. What is this, Les Miserables? Response. No, it's called Madeline.
No shit, Sherlock.
I think that was the next response, but I didn't include that one.
Irresistible and charming. And a definite must for young children is the title of this next review, and it is a 7-star review from the mighty year of 2010. Do you remember 2010, guys? What a time to be alive.
Yay! I turned 17.
I hated to give this likable little movie only a 7. It's really very good, only I didn't think it was about much except to be nice. The Madeline books themselves, though, lovely children's classics, are not really about much. They're not supposed to be. They are simple and nice, and don't burden the child reader with too much message. That's good, since not every message suits every person. I remember reading the Madeline books as a small child in 2nd grade. I haven't picked up a Madeline book since then, but I seem to vividly remember them for some strange reason because they really are simple stories. But I remember all the characters and they are all here. Pepito, Genevieve the dog, the circus performance, I remember them all very fondly. It was a very cute little movie, but as an adult, the selling point for me was the incredible Frances McDormand. She is such a great actress who never gives a bad performance. Even when I think the movie is bad, she is always really good. This night might not be one of her more demanding roles, but the performance is strong, smart, and sure. Playing a nun is a fairly complicated thing to do, and she brings it off like a real regular Debbie Reynolds. Her performance is respectful, restraint, and never crass. I mean, come on, folks. Religious denominations are a touchy subject, but not here in this film. This film is perfect for all children and contains nothing offensive except for the word damn. And if you can't handle that, get the heck out of the kitchen, dopey. The main thing that should be
Kitchens are for servants.
the main thing that should be cautioned is the irresponsible use of firecrackers. Sure,
Okay.
I thought the scene was hilarious, but throwing firecrackers under a person's feet can do serious harm, and parents should definitely talk to their kids about that one. All in all, this was not a great film or a deep one, but it was awfully sweet and cute. And I'll read one more, because then I only have one after that.
I bet
Okay.
the firecrackers is
Oh.
what brought it to a PG rating.
Yeah, that's
somewhere.
it. That and Pepito. He was just too sexual. No, Bartek, I'll hold
charming.
off. Give us some more YouTube. YouTube, what I like about YouTube is people respond and give feedback and be mean or nice. And IMDb is just, there it is. And you can see how many people found it helpful.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for saying that when I have no more comments that have responses.
Don't worry, I'll respond to them.
Okay. Well, I don't... It might be an interesting one, Ryan, because I think you wrote this one, because it describes you. Just got this awesome feel-good movie today, and yes, I am a guy, and yes, I'm straight. Your response, Ryan? Is it you?
I am in straight. Yeah.
I'm straight? Yep.
Im? Oh, they didn't.
I'm without the apostrophe.
Oh, I thought you said in straight.
No,
I'm
im.
in straight. I'm also im straight, but I'm in straight as well. Yeah.
The comment said, I am, as one word, I am a guy, and yes, im straight. So he can't...
My response...
Variety.
My response is, I am im straight.
This next one starts with a quote.
Oh, good. Is it one of Claire's?
Oh no, you kill Fred. That part cracks me up. LOL.
Thanks, Claire. I imagine she wrote that, man.
And this next comment. Holy shit, 1998. This movie is way older than I thought it was. God, I feel old, haha. I didn't realise I was like 7 years old when this movie came out. Came out.
How do you think Claire feels? She was in the movie.
I remember watching
There's
this
a-
shit in the theaters. I'm one of those people who can't remember majority of their life, especially in those young child years. Like, I can remember some events, but I would never be able to match it to the exact age. It's crazy to look back on all the times that have been forgotten. Such a trip. All because of the trailer.
Well, I'm going to read you this one here. This is 10 star from 2000 called This Was Superb! 10 stars. This film was very heart-touching. Hatty Jones and Clare Thomas were superb in this film. Hear that, Claire? Bianca Stromman was an A. Okay, but too scurvy. Anyway, this film was awesome, but the thing is, Christian De La Osa did a good performance as Pepito, the bad hat. And especially Hattie, and him were not as superb as the other actress, Thomas. Anyhow.
Oh, Clare Thomas, okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, Frances McDormand, Mississippi Burning, and Fargo did a wonderful performance as Miss Clavel. All I have to say that this film is adorable. It's adorable. PG, rated PG for moderate language and mild adult content. Bartek. I've got one last review here.
And does that one touch upon the things we have to keep in mind?
Maybe.
Okay.
This is a 7-star review.
Oh, you're reading it?
Oh, I'm reading it.
Oh, well, you said my name. I thought you wanted me to read
No,
comments.
Bartek, calm down.
Okay.
This is a formulaic but still entertaining enough to write it off. 7 stars, that's the title. From this year, 2017.
Oh, wow.
Madeline is a clever movie about a brave, smart little girl and how she stands up to Pepito and Lord Covington. It can be syrupy and corny sometimes, but it's got some entertaining moments too. Hattie Jones is a pretty decent actor for her first role. She may not have had the acting chops to play Madeline. She may not have had the acting chops to play Madeline, but she still did a pretty good for her age. Her anger, her fearlessness, her mischief, her sadness, her precociousness was enjoyable to watch, and this was my movie as a kid. Most of the other actors also did well for their roles and personalities, but I didn't like Vicky. It's too bad I couldn't get to see more of Hattie. Some people may have problems with her having a British accent instead of a French one, though. Madeline doesn't act much like a kid because of her acting too mature for her age, but she's a unique character, and her bravery, friendliness, and fierce personality are good qualities in a little girl. Pepito is a good character because he changes from a troublesome little boy to a friendly and helpful boy. Lord Covington is a sympathetic and relatable antagonist because he wants to close down the school because of his sadness for the death of his wife. Now, my real problems are here.
Ooh.
They picked a little Asian girl to be one of the girls.
Oh.
I don't think this was in the book. I haven't read much of it, though.
These are the real problems?
The real problem.
Hold on, I just like to say, when I said that, Michabella's mouth was open agape, just like shocked. They picked a little Asian girl. That's number one. I never liked the trouble Madeline and the girls cause. Yes, I know they're children, but they shouldn't be influencing girls to act like them. And also, yes, it's a movie, but I never liked seeing kids misbehaving a lot. And the kids cry over an appendix? While it's faithful to the book, I think that them crying over something like getting their appendix out is weird.
Excuse whoever wrote that.
Uh,
It feels like you're being ripped
This is
apart.
written by Pinkeray. I still remember fondly watching this movie as a kid, and over the summer and fall in 2015. It's not one of the best movies to watch, in fact. It might be forgettable because of its formulaic writing, storytelling, characters, and directing, but this mostly lies in the writing and directing, though it's certainly better than the Madeline cartoons that were out in the 80s and 90s, and always had been to me. Being 11 years old and watching the movie, I was too old for the cartoons. I didn't care much for them. And that's the end of the review. Problem number 1 with that review, racism.
Yeah.
Problem number 2, racism. I think that was the big one. But that's why you have to hear people out. Maybe that's something they genuinely believed.
Maybe they wanted to ask a question like the next
So
comment.
I imagine the next comment is going to be asking important questions.
Yes.
YouTube asks the big questions. Like Clare Thomas, will you be on the show?
And like... Who is the cast of live action? Tell me.
Well, Clare Thomas.
I would hate it. And
I
have
would
a
love it
feeling
if
that
Claire
she
Thomas-
doesn't. She just wants to forget this. She's repressed it.
Please,
She
Claire,
wants nothing to do
could you
with
do a
it.
one-woman show version of this entire movie and you reprise yourself?
Wow.
I like the movie, but the other girls had their times wasted because they had nothing to say except from chickens don't have names, and the other girls had no credit, fame, or anything from the movie. Overall, I like the movie. 8 out of 10.
Okay, Claire, I can tell you wrote that one. You felt like you needed more of a role in it. I feel you.
I love the girl. I often visit her.
What?
What? So even I'm like, what? I love the girl. I often visit her. I think now she become beautiful woman.
Okay,
What,
Claire.
From the bushes?
Okay, Claire.
Did you say bushes?
Yeah.
This next comment, I don't know who wrote this or what they thought they were watching.
Mischabella.
The comment is, I would follow Bush all the way to the fire squad in his honor. I remember this comment was written after his presidency, so
Yeah, everything on YouTube's written after his presidency, basically.
YouTube started in 2005.
No. Yeah? No.
5 or 6.
That was 7. I thought this was
No.
10-year anniversary.
No, it's either 2005 or 2006.
Fuck a duck. Bush made it happen. 9/11 was an inside job.
The
Claire Thomas knows.
The third last comment is... Hello, Lord Cuck-O-Face. Smiley face.
Cuckoo face.
Cuckoo face.
Not cuckoo face.
Well, they spelt it like cuck.
Because he's such a cuck.
that one was kind of
Cuck-face.
awkward to say because it's Cuck-O-Face, and then there's a smiley face. So I
Hit
can't-
us with your final load right on our face, Bartek. Mischabella and I lined up for this.
second last comment.
Tekken 3.
One of my top 7 favorite films.
Hear that, Claire? You're in someone's top 7.
7.
That's a top prime number of films.
See, I was wrong early on when I made that Watch Mojo comparison because someone has this in their top 7.
Yeah, that was
Idiot.
an interesting one. Top 10 forgotten films. Doesn't that mean that you have to keep updating it? Because then when you remind them, it won't be forgotten.
Oh yeah, you're fucking right.
And
It's a
that
never-ending list.
And the last comment of this
Oh.
episode is... I used to watch this all the time as a kid. They don't make bomb movies like this anymore.
You're right, Claire. They don't make bomb movies like this anymore. I like how all of them they're Claire. Negative
Except
or
the one that was
positive.
you, who's
Well,
I'm
I'm im straight. I don't
Don't get me
know.
wrong. I'm in straight.
Don't get me wrong, Claire.
in straight, not
Don't
I'm.
get me wrong.
straight.
Excuse me. Don't get me wrong, Claire. I looked on your IMDb. It didn't say that you were married or dating anyone. I don't know if you.
The comment
Is
also
she
said
im straight?
the comment also said that it was a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I am a
Claire
guy.
could be identifying as a guy. We don't know what Claire's background is. Claire, you need to come on the show for me to interview you to find out all the hot goss.
Yeah, dude.
Are you im straight? I know I am.
Now, you know him.
You know, I feel like this is one of the most fever dreamy episodes we've done on this show. As soon as, you know what, I wonder what it would be like if Mischabella wasn't our guest and I didn't know that Claire Thomas could have been a possibility
fair,
for
the
someone
last-
to talk to.
The last movie that we did with Mischabella kind of was a fever dreamy movie.
Yeah, Mischabella should be nicknamed Feverbella.
I love it.
Fever Bella.
Mischabella.
I'm
I
a Fever
actually
Bella.
really like that.
We are on the final verge of the end of the episode, Fever Bella. It was great to have you on. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I really did.
I hope that you don't regret giving us the information that you know, Claire. I hope not. I hope that she doesn't regret anything either. Good job, Claire. Bartek, you've been a great Claire of the show as well. We've all been Claire. Because the thing about Claire is she brings out the best in anything. Herself, others, the material she's in.
Yeah.
And I think we should all emulate Claire. Thanks, Claire.
Thank you,
if you guys want to be Claire, click on Claire. Look up Claire. Support Claire.
Don't harass Claire.
Don't obviously worship her, but don't harass. We can all remember to be Claire to each other. The usual Clarings.
No, but seriously, you can like us on Facebook, you can leave us reviews on iTunes, and possibly one of the best things you could do for us, which we haven't really emphasized, is you could recommend us to people.
If you want, recommend us to Claire. I know Mischabella is. The more, I would really love it that actors or directors of one of these movies listened to this podcast and gave us feedback. I would love to hear certain people's views on these movies.
What if it's someone who's been in a movie we've done before, but they give us feedback on a different thing?
Yeah, they're like I really like Claire
Ed
gives
Man.
us a review of her thoughts on Centurions, and she's like, I loved it. I tried to audition for it, but they wouldn't let me in because I was too old.
Or if the Ed Man comments on this movie.
Ed Man from I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yep.
So guys, fantastic Mr. Bella, Fever Bella, the new warrior princess, Fever Bella. Been great to have you on. Can't wait till you grace our lovely audience with your voice and presence once more. You guys have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful, superfluously great Claires.
Terrible. Wait, that's a bad word. No, never mind about that one.
Fuck!
Get up!
I'm not good with adjectives.
Hey, what was your fart thing that you set up at the earlier on the show?
Oh, there.
Oh.
There you go.
Was that it?
It was worth the 2.5 hour wait. So, you guys, as Bartek said, check us out. Until next time, remember to be kind to Claire.
Something is not right.